What is up, y'all? Guys, I'm already seeing a bunch of names that I recognize. Travis, dude, I was wearing the Flavortown swag the other day, buddy. Hope you're doing great. Brady, what's up, man? Brady Bashir. Debbie, guys, pop through the comments box. Who you are, where you're calling in from. What I want to know before we get started on today's epic planning call is what excites you most about the year ahead. All right, guys. So who are you? Where are you calling in from? What are you most excited about for the year ahead? Now, in this call, and if you guys are listening on the podcast, if you're listening to the recorded version on the Carrot Cast, or if you're listening to the recorded version or watching on YouTube, we're going to be going through lots of different things today. We're going to be giving you templates, my personal planning templates. This is something literally hot off the presses, y'all, from last night. I tossed over my iPad process over to one of my graphic designers here at Carrot, and I just said, hey, can you take this thing that I use personally and turn it into a worksheet for everybody? And so you guys are going to get that worksheet today. You guys are going to get a worksheet for the business side of things today. But if you're listening on the podcast, I would highly, highly suggest listening to this maybe at 1.5x or 2x speed, and then going over to YouTube, subscribing to YouTube channel, but going over to YouTube so you can watch the visual version of this, because it's going to be so powerful with the quotes we're going to be showing, the graphics I'm going to be showing, the whole thing. So awesome. Awesome, dude. What's up? Travis, you got it on right now. Guys, Travis came fully equipped at Carrot Camp when he came this last spring, I think it was, with swag. And dude, it fit me. Usually people bring me like larges or something like that. I'm not a large dude. It fit me perfect. So thanks, buddy. From London, what's up, Blake? Blake from London, amazing. We've got Dwayne from New Jersey. We've got Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. You guys probably got a ton of snow up there in Coeur d'Alene, Tony. That's awesome, man. Amazing. John, first time ever on a live call. Guys, this is my favorite call every single year because basically, if we were to look at the purpose and mission of Carrot, the company, our stated purpose, and this is my stated purpose as well, is to help you build businesses of freedom and impact. And planning effectively at the life level, the personal level, the business level is exactly how you get that. And I can tell you, there was a stark difference, y'all. There was a stark difference in my life, in my business, in fulfillment, in momentum, in progress, in my income. There's a stark difference on the results that I got before and after I started to do the things I'm going to be teaching today. Okay, so I'm just going to dive right in. We've got people from all over the world, actually. Seattle, you guys got a bunch of snow up there as well. Drew, what's up, man? We got Kentucky still now from Louisville. David Littlejohn, what's up, man? I love it, dude. I've got some of that in here right now. So, guys, we're just going to dive in because I want to respect y'all's time. And the epic planning call, number one, it's called epic because I want you guys to have an epic year ahead. But also, number two, this is going to be a workshop. This is going to be a decently long call. I want you to work through the things with me. The worksheet you guys can download right below the YouTube view page, or where you guys are on the live view page. There's going to be some links, and those links are going to show you where the downloads are. So I'm going to share my screen really quick. And we're going to get it kicked off with this. Then we're going to dive in. Is if you're on this page right here, y'all, number one, if you're not a Carrot member yet, we do have a special offer. We're kind of resurrecting our Cyber Monday deal and bringing it and giving you guys an extra couple days to finish the year to jump aboard Carrot. Or if you're already an existing member, you can upgrade to Advanced Marketer today for a discount and get some bonuses. But I'm going to go down here. So I want you guys to do this. Click this link and have the slide deck pulled up next to you. Okay, because I'm going to give you access to my slide deck. Have it pulled up next to this so you can actually see me going through in case you need to check back on anything else. Number two, I want you to pull up the personal planning worksheet. You can either have it on your iPad, you can have it on your computer and type it out. You can print it off, whatever you want to do. And then there's some other cool resources in here for you guys. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is we're just going to kick this puppy off. And guys, I so appreciate everyone tuning in here from wherever the heck you're tuning in from. And I don't take it for granted that there's hundreds of people on this call right now. And you guys and gals are showing up for a reason. And we're showing up because we want to have a better year next year. We want to have a better life than we possibly do now. And many of you guys and gals probably already have an amazing life. Many of you guys and gals have a bunch of goals that maybe you have set and hit or did not hit this year. Maybe you hit a bunch of your goals over the past year or two, but you're like, man, the fulfillment is just not there. I have more money than I ever thought I would have, or I hit my goals and the clouds didn't part, the angels didn't sing. What do I do now? Like, how do I plan more effectively so it also leads to fulfillment? Or maybe you're struggling to hit your goals and you're like, man, I just feel overwhelmed. There's so many darn things, so many options, so many things we could do. How do I know what I should do? And how can I have a good process to make sure to give me that clarity right now and give you the tools throughout the year so you make sure you're doing the right things, you're not getting overwhelmed doing the wrong things. Okay. So let me know, guys and gals, if any of you guys have any, if any of you guys have any of those thoughts going through your mind, which of those thoughts might be going through your mind right now as it relates to this next year? Okay. So I'm going to, if you guys could do it to where the slides are a little bit bigger, I'm a little bit smaller. I'm going to dive right into the slides. Thank you, guys. Amazing. So guys, we're going to be diving into planning an epic 2022. Okay. These are lessons I've learned over the past 10 years or so, in particular in 2021. And 2021 was a wild year for me. I'm gonna be showing you guys a quick recap on my year, the highs, the lows, the big lessons, the 5 key lessons I learned, and I'm gonna walk you through my process for planning. Okay, but this basically these are things I've learned, and every single year I adjust and iterate. I adjust and iterate based on the size of my company, based on where I want to be. 5 years ago, I wanted to be just self-employed, right? Have a good paying job. Today, I'm like, I'm wanting to step into the owner bucket. How do I step into the owner seat with my businesses? So I'm doing less of the daily work and more owning the companies, owning the assets. And that takes a shift in our habits, a shift in the process. But I've learned these over the years from going from zero, essentially, to well over $50 million valuation in the company, 8-figure a year business, very, very profitable, 50 plus amazing team members. And we're learning and failing and winning a lot along the way. Okay. So I want to help you guys buy back more time and increase that impact. So I want to throw this quote at you guys really quick to start things off. I want to give you permission right now. Y'all, that you're allowed to wake up one day. You're allowed to wake up today and just decide to change who you are. You can dress differently. You can speak up more. You can laugh louder. You can speak more freely. You can say hey to new people. You can get that confidence going. Okay, we don't have to stay the same way that people see us out of fear that they won't like us the way that we want to be. And I want you guys to think about that right now. What have you been holding? What have you been holding back on in this previous year ahead? What have you been holding back on for years? And you step into the new year and you go, man, you know what? It's like I know that this is actually me, but I'm caged up. I'm caging the actual me, and I'm not letting myself out because I'm afraid of what people are going to think. I'm afraid people are going to think, well, shoot, he or she is being fake because that's not the way that I've known him or her for 10 years, right? But I want you guys to know you are allowed to get up one day and just decide to change who you are. And I want you guys to make that decision today. What are the things that you should decide to change? What are those things that are holding you back? What are the things that are actually going to unleash you to your greater purpose, to have more fulfillment? I want you to think about those things right now. And I want you to even write them down. Grab a piece of paper, grab a pen and pad, whatever it is that you use. You're going to be taking a lot of notes today. I want you to make the conviction to change something today before the year even starts. Guys, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I think New Year's resolutions are the first path to failure. If you say, I'm going to wait for next week to start something or Monday to start something, you've already failed because you haven't had the conviction yet inside to change the habits, to change the patterns, to change the disciplines. So we're going to start this change today. We're not gonna start on Saturday on January 1st. We're gonna start today, guys. Okay, so if I can get that commitment from you guys, we're gonna dive in right now. I'm gonna walk you through everything that I've learned. So you're basically over here. You were over here at this point on your starting point. I want you to visualize where you were. Okay, I want you to visualize where you were maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, and picture how that felt. Was it an income ceiling that you were coming up against? I want you to picture how your business was or how your job was, or it could be relationships, or it could be hobbies, it could be health. And now I want you to picture where you are today and the progress that you've made. Now it's something that I'm going to be talking about a concept later in this call called the gap and the gain. I've talked about the gap before in the podcast, but I've never talked about the gain before because this is kind of it's not a new concept, but I absolutely love the way that a certain book I'm going to introduce you guys today positioned it for me. Okay, so I want you to picture, where were you 3 to 5 years ago? Where are you today? And I want you just to sit in gratitude for everything that you have today that you wanted 3 to 5 years ago, and you have it probably. And I want you to sit in gratitude for the ways that you've grown, the situations you've gone through and became stronger for. Because where we oftentimes sit is we have this ideal out here. We have this vision out here. And then we compare ourselves against the vision and where we are today. And we always feel inadequate. We always feel like, man, I'm just not there yet. And so we feel unfulfilled, inadequate. We feel like even though we're hitting goals, that it's not enough. And so before we even start, I want you guys to visualize that, recognize where you were 3 to 5 years ago, recognize where you are today, and write down one thing that you're insanely grateful for that you are living today that you would have absolutely pinched yourself 3 to 5 years ago if you would have known that you'd be living that. Okay, think about it. I want you guys to pop through the questions panel too. Is what right now are you living today that 3 to 5 years ago was a goal of yours? Pop it through the comments box, guys. Is there an income goal that you hit? Is there something that happened with a relationship or health or whatever? Let me know something inside the comments box, something that you were wanting to have happen in your life 3 to 5 years ago, and it did happen. And I want you to sit in that gratitude, okay? So you guys are at the right place today. If you keep chasing the next goal or achievement, but find it never brings lasting joy or fulfillment, and there's got to be more to life, guys. That's something that's crazy, crazy common with entrepreneurs. And I'm going to walk you through how I've gone through many rounds of that, and how to really sit in fulfillment even more. You're at the right place if you've already achieved your someday goals that you set years ago, but still not happy and fulfilled as you thought you'd be. I'm going to give you some frameworks and some ways to think about and shift the way that you think about certain things to amp that fulfillment up while you're achieving those goals. Okay, or if you feel like you're working your butt off but not getting any closer to your ultimate goals, or your goals keep shifting on you, you're at the right place, y'all. Okay, you're at the place of every year you have the same goals that you've set, then you reset, and you thought maybe I should aim lower. Maybe I'm not hitting that goal. I just need to aim a little bit lower. Maybe that goal's not for me, right? Maybe it's just too hard for me, guys. That's not the case. I'm going to walk you through how to shift that mindset so you can get over those mental hurdles, so you can actually implement the things you need to implement to change your life. Okay, look at this. Ronnie says, getting married to my dream wife 3 to 5 years ago. Ronnie might have had that vision to go, man, how am I going to find this woman? And he did. Right here, bought a Bayfront house. Jason, I love it, man. Went back to school. Guys, look at all these. Retired. Okay, there's some great ones here. This one right here, working from home versus traveling, and I'm close to matching my corporate salary from home to love up on my grandkids. So amazing goal right there. I love it. Bought my first rental properties. Have started building my mortgage team. Have gone from 1 to 10 employees in 2 years. You've made so much progress. So guys, sit in that progress and revel in it a little bit. Okay. You're at the right place if you want a better system for setting and achieving goals that sets you up for success in the new year. Guys, you're at the right place. If you dip into entrepreneur's funk, but don't know how to get out of it, that's natural. Okay. I'm going to walk you through some of the funks that I've been in even this past year, and how I get out of those faster today. And you can do the same. Okay. If you've been grinding for months or maybe even years and things just don't seem to be breaking through for you, does this one relate to anybody? Pop it through the comments box. If you've been grinding for months or maybe even years and you just don't seem to see things popping in your business or popping in an important part of your life, let me know. Okay. If you start the day feeling overwhelmed at everything you have to do and the little time that you have to do it, you're at the right place. Okay. You're at the right place if you keep hitting against a wall and can't crack through to reach your vision for success and you're getting discouraged. You're at the right place if you want to find ways to create more happiness and joy in life and business. That's what it's about. I know some very, very wealthy people who are some of the least happy people I know. That's not what we're here for. Okay. I'd much rather have a business that grows a little, but delivers the fulfillment, the balance, the happiness, the impact that I want, that I need, versus maximizing the dollar and lowering the amount of freedom that I have, lowering the amount of impact we're able to make. Okay. And finally, I want to have you look at this before we start to dive into my 5 biggest lessons of 2021 and then our planning process. Okay. So I found this graphic, probably 7 or 8 years ago. When I found it, it hit me pretty hard. Okay. I found it when I was in my early 30s, I think around 32, 33. I'll be 40 this next year, which is kind of crazy, but the 30s were an amazing decade. And when I saw this graphic, it really, really puts into perspective time. It puts into perspective the time that we have on this world. It's not an infinite amount of time. Okay. It's not, and shoot, as we refound out again this year, with the passing of an amazing friend of mine, Adrian Nez, guys, we don't know what next week looks like. We don't know what tomorrow looks like, let alone next month or next year or 3 years from now. And so I want you to find where you are on this graphic here. Okay. So I'm right around here somewhere. I needed to move that arrow. I'm right around here. And if you look at this, it's kind of crazy because it's based off of what they say is a 90-year human life in months. Okay. So if that's a night, if every one of these circles is a month, okay, each row equals 36 months or 3 years. That means I'm right around here somewhere. Okay. Right around here somewhere. That's just under halfway down this thing. And so you start to look at it and go, man, look at the gap between where I am and how much time is left. But look at the gain. Look how much time I have left still. Look how much time we have to make an impact. Look how much time you can get so many amazing things done in a decade. What's the quote? I think people say we overestimate what we can get done in a year, but we underestimate what we can get done in a decade, right? And so I want you to look at this and not just yourself, look at the people that you love. Okay, my grandparents, my grandma, I've got one grandma left. I had a chance to spend Christmas with her. She's in her early 80s. And when you really look at it, you go, oh my gosh, am I spending enough time with my grandma? You know, if you visit your grandma or your grandparents, let's say twice a year, let's say you live out of town and they're in their 80s, you visit them twice a year. Let's say that maybe they're 80 years old and they might live to 85 or 87. If you visit them twice a year, that means you have 10 to 14 visits, guys, 10 to 14 visits. That's where it really gets crazy. So now how do we change the habits and patterns? How do we make sure that it's not 10 to 14 visits, it's 20 visits, 30 visits, 40 visits, or those 10 to 14 visits are the higher quality visits? I'm going to introduce a concept to you guys today called magical moments. Okay, and those magical moments, when I heard that concept this year, it changed the way I looked at things, changed the way I looked at spending time with people. Okay, so I want you to look at this and recognize life is not infinite on this world. We are going to meet our maker. There is a time when we will not be here. And I want to make sure to put urgency in all of us today to make sure that we're doing the things now and not putting off things that need to happen in 2022. Okay, those relationships that need to be repaired, do those in 2022. Getting healthy again or staying healthy, doing that so you extend that lifespan. Getting your will created so you're not a burden for your family if you were to pass away, unfortunately. Okay, I'm going to be guiding through this. I want you guys to have that urgency at the front of your mind throughout this whole time today. Okay, guys. So this right here, this was my year in review. And this is always something I enjoy doing, is kind of looking at the year and saying, how the heck was the year? What were the ups? What were the downs? And I had a lot of ups and some big downs. As I was talking with my wife about it this last week and some of my close friends and team members. And I'm like, man, this year was probably the year with the biggest ups and biggest downs that I can remember in recent history. You know, there were things that are going to define, I think, the next 10, 15, 20 years of my life that happened this past year. Both good and trials, you know, bad things, trials that made me stronger. So January, guys, started off with a bang. We had some really big business goals that we set for 2020, and we barely eked by our what we call our best target. So we hit a huge business milestone, and momentum was coming into the new year, which really felt good. And there was this one goal, like before I had mentioned, hey, are you one of those people that has a goal that you carry forward every single year and you put it off, and every single year you go, oh my gosh, I didn't do that one again. I'm almost 40 years old, guys, and I didn't know how to swim. I didn't know how to swim. And so I set a goal at the start of the year. I said, I'm going to learn how to swim this year. And one of the best ways to learn to force a goal is to schedule something to go sign up for a race or to go commit to something publicly that requires you to gain that skill. And so I signed up for a sprint triathlon, not knowing how to swim at all. And I think it's a 700-meter swim. And I'm literally a guy who couldn't swim half of a length of a pool, couldn't tread water for 20 seconds. And so I learned how to swim this year. I can swim multiple lengths of the pool. I can tread water for minutes on end. I didn't get the sprint triathlon in, so that is when I'm carrying forward this year. I wrapped up the 75 hard challenge. That was life-changing. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. Man, we took an amazing vacation. Went to Maui. Family's going back to Hawaii, going to Kauai in 2 weeks. It's just a place my kids love. My wife loves it. We hired more people in the first quarter of the year than I think we ever had in any quarter. Possibly, we hired more people in that quarter than we had in many years here at Carrot. But then the spring hit, and there was this weird business slowdown. And over time, we're about 7 to 8 years into Carrot. Over time, there's always little plateaus that happen, but this one it didn't catch me by surprise. I'm like, man, it's not going back up like it normally does. Amazing bucket list golf trip to Bandon Dunes. So I love golf, but I don't golf that much. But I am hooked on Bandon Dunes. I've already got my next Bandon Dunes golf trip planned for May. And man, I'm hooked. So that's one of those things. We're going to create a tradition where every single year, me and 7 others are going to go to Bandon Dunes, and we're just going to make it a trip for as long as I can physically move and make that happen. I'm going to talk about magical moments. That's one of the things that spurred me to do that. Okay, I started a really, really amazing Bible study with good friends. So Brady on my team, who's behind the scenes on this call right now, Seth Bueckley, a friend and mentor of mine. He's been in the Carrot Cast many times. Aaron Karnofsky, a good friend that we met from church. We get together every Wednesday now and really study the Bible. And this really shaped a lot of the back half of my year, because we studied the book of James, which I'm going to talk about trials here in a little bit. And the back half of the year had some big trials. And I think without that in my life, I wouldn't have been able to wade through those trials quite as good. We had another amazing family trip in July. July for me, guys, what I do, and I encourage you guys to do this as well, is you're looking at your year ahead and you're preloading your year. Find some blocks of time where you and your family just create a tradition of doing a vacation. And so ours is July. We always go to the family lake cabin for 4th of July. And then right after that, we go on a big trip. This year we did Yellowstone, which was a blast and just such amazing memories there. Right after that, we headed up and had our company retreat. We rented this crazy, crazy cool hotel up in the Columbia Gorge, had, almost 40 to 50 of our team members there. And I got so many great comments. The best retreat that we have ever had. And we're having our next one in about a month. And it's just so fun to connect with our team. That was a big, big high. And then there was this weird thing that happened. So I wrapped 75 hard in March, and I was like, peak performance, was not out of energy ever in those 75 days. Literally, I never did not have energy ever. Okay. I'm talking like not once did I not have energy during those 75 days. And my brain was working, momentum was picking up everywhere. And then I went on the vacation, and then I kind of let this one habit slip, and this other one, and this other one. And then we went on the July vacation. Okay. And then certain other things, I was nailing the faith. I was nailing certain other things in my life, but then the physical part started to slip away. I went from literally the best shape in the last decade to potentially the worst shape in the last 5 years, all in the span of about 8 months, which is crazy, right? And so that was a little bit of a low that I've started to bust off some of that crust, but not all of it yet. I got a lot of good clarity about the business and the future of where we're going. Carrot Camp was life-changing again. Absolutely had a blast at Carrot Camp in September. And then this was one of the things I wanted to work on the most with my 2021 plan, was I wanted to make sure I was way more intentional with my relationships. And so you can see Bible study was in there, family vacations more intentional, other types of things are in there as well. The bucket list trip to Bandon Dunes, that's with friends. I was really investing in relationships more. And my wife and I, coming into the last part of the year, we said, man, with the pandemic and stuff, we just have not focused on our relationship as much. And so we set out to have more date nights in the last quarter of the year than we had in the last 2 years, and we nailed it. We went on so many date nights. We had a trip to San Diego together with just her and I, which was the first time in years that just her and I had been on a trip without the kids. And it's been an amazing, amazing last quarter relationship-wise with my wife. And then, man, the biggest low that I could imagine, something that just catches you off guard. Amazing friend of mine, a Carrot team member, one of our first 100 Carrot customers, just Carrot Camp rock star, Adrian Nez. He passed away in October. And I can tell you guys that life graphic I showed you before, where it shows all those bubbles, I can tell you that when these types of things happen, everything comes into perspective really, really tightly, really tightly. I mean, you start to look at the business goals you've got. You start to look at how you're spending your time, and you're like, man, I'm not guaranteed next month, let alone next year. And you start to ask, why am I going after the extra dollar? Like, why is it important that this goal happens? If this goal doesn't unleash more freedom for me and those around me, and more impact for those around me, why am I doing this? And you start to ask those questions. Does my business own me, or do I own it? And I was just really wrestling with a lot of that stuff this last fall. because I've done really, really well for myself financially, right? It hasn't been easy. It's kind of the whole thing. I did a podcast on this recently where it was a 10-year overnight success. It took me about 7 years to become a millionaire. And then, the maybe 6 years. And then from there, the last 4 years, 5 years, it's really expanded a lot because I focused on one thing. Before I was scattered with 3, 4, 5 different businesses. When you focus on one thing, amazing things happen. But this really got me big time. This really got me. And the outpouring of love from you guys and gals was amazing. It just re-cemented my passion for you, my passion for business, my passion for what I do. But it also cemented to say, hey, I want to make sure I'm more intentional with my schedule in 2022. And I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to be doing in 2022 here in a bit. Then my family got COVID right after that. It wasn't fun. I still don't have most of my taste and smell back. I'm about 50-50. But we waded through it, and I'm very, very grateful for the immune systems that we've got. And then we bought another building downtown a couple of weeks ago. We're going to be renovating that. And then I get a phone call a week and a half ago. I'm on a meeting, and then my older brother calls me. My younger brother calls me a minute or two later. And I'm like, man, something's up. They just don't do this. And I hear my dad's being rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. My dad's like one of those tough guys, right? He's one of those amazingly tough guys. And he absolutely would not let anyone put him in a hospital in an ambulance if it wasn't serious. And they thought it was a heart attack. He's a pretty darn healthy guy. Ended up not being. We had an amazing Christmas together. He's healthy. But these things stacked up, guys, right? Me getting a little bit lazy physically, Adrian passing away, family getting COVID, my dad rushing to the hospital. It really shaped what my 2022 is going to be like. And it's going to be about gaining more freedom in the schedule, making sure I'm more intentional stepping into the owner seat versus a self-employed seat. Okay. And so as we talked about some of those habits and disciplines, I rode a lot of bike this year, had a lot of workouts this year. And this was kind of how I started the year physically. And this is what I looked like when I got done with 75 hard. And you can see, I mean, guys, the results were amazing when you get focused on the right thing. So I'm going to be shifting back to that here before the year starts. And I'm going to find the best ways to change my schedule to ensure the most fulfillment, the most momentum in the right spots this year ahead. All right. So guys, the big thing that I learned this year or relearned was it's not if we'll meet trials, it's when we'll meet trials, and how we react to those trials is what really matters. You guys are going to meet trials in 2022. Okay. They could be crazy, crazy, crazy hard trials that you think are going to break you. They could be trials that you just kind of skate through. But the thing is, as you grow and as you become stronger, you're able to handle bigger trials. Okay. If we don't fold under the pressure of small trials, we grow and get stronger. We're able to handle bigger and bigger trials as we go. And that should be our aim for all of us, is how do we grow and get stronger so we can handle bigger trials? Because when we can handle bigger trials, we're also blessed with the ability to go out there and make a greater impact. Okay, those people who cannot handle trials and they buckle under pressure of small trials are the ones going to be really struggling in the year ahead to make any progress on goals, because the second things get hard is the second you might give up. And I don't want that to be for you. Okay, so this comes from 1 James. Count it all joy when you meet trials of various kinds, for the trials produce steadfastness. And let that steadfastness make you perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. Guys, trials, the aim for all of us should be, how do we make those trials joy where possible? I didn't want to see Adrian passing away. I didn't want to hear my dad going to the hospital. I didn't want to have our family get COVID. I didn't want to have, a business growth slowdown happen in the spring. We started to get some of that momentum back this fall. I don't want to have those happen, right? But how do you look at them and say, how do I count these as joy? Where is the joy in this? Where's the growth in this? How am I growing? And how is this then going to impact my ability to handle bigger and greater things moving forward, right? So what we're going to dive into today, guys, is my 5 biggest learnings and mindset shifts of 2021. I'm going to give you a few books that changed my perspective on things as well. So the first learning is gap versus gain. The second one is the work is the reward. The third one, don't run from the problem, grow into the solution, creating magical moments, think longer time horizons. I'm going to introduce you to all these 5 learnings and show you a framework and some quotes and how I then am implementing these in my life. These are going to be big ones for not just 2022, but for the years ahead. And then I'm going to walk through this concept that I created this year called the 3 key resources in our lives. And these 3 key resources are the things you need to protect in 2022. You have to protect these in 2022. And I'm going to give you some guidance on how to do that. And then we're going to dive in the back half of this call, guys, and start your plan. Okay. We're not going to get all your plan done today. You're going to need to carve some time out. What I encourage you to do right now is look on your schedule and get some time later today, tomorrow, this weekend, next week, whatever it is. Don't let it go past the end of next week, but get yourself a half a day. Get yourself a half a day, block it out and say, I'm going to be completely alone and I'm going to get my planning done on the personal side and on the business side if you haven't done it yet, and really lead into the year with momentum. So find a half a day on your schedule right now. I can guarantee you that if you don't have a half a day to plan the next 365 days, you're going to be looking back mid-year. You're going to be looking back in March. You're going to be looking back in September. And you're going to be asking, what the heck happened with my year? Where did all this time go? I don't feel like I'm making momentum on the things I should be. I feel like I'm overwhelmed at all the things that I'm doing, and it doesn't feel like things are getting moved forward. Spend a half a day over the next week to change the next 365 days of your life. All right, guys. So I'm going to show you guys the new personal planning template. We're going to bring up my iPad. We're going to go through it. And then I'm going to introduce you to something that's relatively new for me called the GROW model, GROW. The GROW model is something that I'm absolutely loving. I'm using it a lot right now. And I think it can change the way you actually do your goal planning for business. All right. And then we'll do live Q&A and coaching. So if you guys have any questions, I want you guys to put your questions through towards the end so we don't lose them. But if you want to get it out there so it's out in the ether, put it in at any time for sure. All right, guys. So I want you guys right now to pull up this template. Okay, so go here to download the personal planning worksheet, and it's going to bring up this here. So you can either print it off if you've got a printer handy next to you. You can bring it up on your iPad, which is what I've done, or we've made it so you can actually type stuff up here, right here. Okay, so I want you to have that ready so you're not kind of going for it when we get there. But for those of you guys who are not familiar with me, I'm Trevor, the founder of a company called Carrot, which hopefully all of you guys in this call recognize, know of. But we went from, let's say 10 years ago or so, I had this goal that I wrote down on my life list to build a company that would eventually make the Inc. 500 and 5,000 list. When I put that down as a goal, I honestly didn't think I could achieve it. I had no idea how. I didn't have the business idea that would. I had no skill sets that would actually enable me to build a business that would be one of the fastest growing companies in America. I just put it down and said it'd be amazing to be able to build the skill sets to do this someday. And today we're 4-time Inc. 500, 5,000 list award winners. We'll be 5-time this next year, and less than 0.5% of all businesses that ever make the list make it 5 years in a row. And so this is not done by accident. It's done by following a process and learning how to grow my disciplines year after year to become a better and stronger person. Okay. One of the things I'm most proud about is we're the 8th most philanthropic small business in Oregon. We treat the impact part of our mission really, really seriously. And we've got 50 full-time team members. We're starting to redevelop some of the historical buildings downtown. Father of 3, husband of my beautiful wife and high school sweetheart, Carly. And I'm really passionate about amplifying you. I'm passionate about amplifying you guys and gals, the leaders on this call, to make your greatest impact, right? So right behind me, over here somewhere, right behind my camera, is this canvas. And we send this canvas out to hundreds and hundreds of our clients every single year who go through and either come to Carrot Camp or go through our concierge program. And this quote right here, guys, I encourage you guys and gals, what I'm going to do is at the end of this call, y'all, I'm going to pick one person. I'm going to send this canvas to one person who's on the call. At the end of the call, I'm going to do a random drawing. And the way to enter that drawing, y'all, is follow me on Instagram. Okay, so pull up your Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, Trevor.Mauch. That's Trevor.Mauch. Go follow me over there. Okay, and then during this call, I want you to take a picture of one of these slides, upload it to Instagram, tag me to it, and say what your biggest takeaway is from that slide. Okay, so 2 rules. Follow me on Instagram, Trevor.Mauch. Take a picture of one of the slides that resonates with you the most during the session today and upload it to Instagram as a post or a story. Tag me to it and let me know what your biggest takeaway is. And do that during the call. I'm going to pick one person during this call to be able to get this canvas. We're going to send it to you. But the ultimate goal as an entrepreneur, y'all, is not money. Okay, money is just a tool. The ultimate goal as an entrepreneur is complete control of your time. So we're going to be walking through in this workshop today how to get back more of your time. And not just get back more of your time, but leverage that time more effectively in your life. So the first biggest mindset shift for me in 2021 was this right here. And it actually came towards the end of the year. It's called the gain and the gap. Okay. I've known about the gap for years, and I'm going to tell you about the gain here in a second, why it's life-changing and how it can really adjust the way that we look at things and amplify our joy and fulfillment in the moment. Okay. So at the end of 2020, I was in a big time mental gap. Okay. That's why I started the bike riding challenge that I did at the end of the year. Rode 500 miles on my bike in December. And then I shifted right into 75 hard challenge January 1st, because I was in a mental gap. I said, I don't have a clue what I'm building towards right now. At that time, I hit most of my goals that I had set financially. And I'm like, I don't really need a lot more money. I'm not looking to buy a rocket. I'm not looking to go to Mars. I don't need a $50 million jet. I'm a pretty simple guy. And so what's the motivation to continue moving forward versus removing yourself from the pain, the pain of growth that comes with growing a company? And what I had realized, my coach had told me, he said, Trevor, what's your vision for the next 3 to 5 years for the company? And I'm like, man, I've got some ideas. I kind of know what we should do with the product, but I'm not really clear on, honestly. And he said, I think you've run out of runway in your vision. And when you run out of runway, guys, it's not a good thing, right? Because when you run out of runway, it means you've got to stop or you're going to crash. And what happens when we run out of runway on our vision, we usually get burnt out. We're working our butts off and going, oh my gosh, I'm working my butt off, but I feel burnt out. I don't want to do this anymore. And we actually self-sabotage. We start to self-sabotage and find ways to get out of the pain. And we run away from the pain unknowingly. Okay, the pain of growing the company, the pain of having to build the skill sets to manage more people, the pain of having to learn skill sets to manage money better, the pain of having to lead people better. Whatever pains there are, naturally, our bodies have the fight or flight mechanism. We try to run away from them. And the way to push through that is to lengthen the runway and create a bigger vision. We have to have a vision beyond 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. We have to have a vision on where we're going to be able to be excited about it. That's where the gap is created, right? And here's an amazing quote that I found the other day from Craig Ballantyne. I really love his stuff. He said, I don't care who's doing better than me. I'm doing better than I was last year. It's me versus me. This is the mindset. This is the mindset that we all need to adopt. It doesn't matter what Dylan's doing. It doesn't matter what Matt's doing. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing, okay? It doesn't matter what they're doing. It only matters, did you grow from year over year? Did you get better? And I'm gonna be walking you guys through my 6 F's exercise to show where you want to focus the biggest growth in 2022. But guys, don't care about what anyone else is doing, okay? It's you versus you. It's you versus your progress so far, being grateful in the progress you've made, and you versus the ideal that you have ahead. Okay. And so I drew this drawing earlier in the year because I had recognized over the years that it's very important to have that gap that I mentioned. We have to know what our current state is, and then we've got to have a vision forward. Then we have to create a plan to get there. The plan is the bridge. But what I was missing was if we're only looking forward and creating the gap forward and we're not looking backwards, or if we're only looking forward as it being a gap, i.e. something that we don't have yet, what ends up happening is it puts us into a perpetual spot where we're not feeling fulfilled. It puts us into a perpetual spot where we just don't feel great. Right? It puts us into a perpetual spot where we don't feel perpetual joy. And that's not a good spot to be in. You know, as Peter says, the gap between vision and current reality is also a source of energy. We get energy by having a gap where we have to grow. We get energy by going, man, I want to get to here. Right? But if we're always looking in the future, we all know, just like the horizon in the ocean, the further you get out there in the ocean, the further the horizon gets away. You're never going to reach that horizon because we always change our ideal. We always change that vision in the future. You can never reach it. Okay. And so gap is healthy, but we can't have gap without the gain side of it. So when you're in the gap, despite growing success, happiness and security will never be yours because the gap mindset eventually stops growth altogether. Eventually we start to go, man, I've achieved all these goals. It doesn't feel like it's made me more happy. Maybe I should just take my foot off the gas and stop trying to set big goals now. Okay. We stop growing, then we self-sabotage. So what do we do instead? Well, this year I read this book called The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan. I was in a coaching program with Dan Sullivan, back in 2012. And he has a coaching program called Strategic Coach. Completely changed my life at that point in time. It was exactly what I needed. Okay. And so there's a quote inside The Gap and the Gain. It says, ideals are meant to provide direction, motivation, and meaning to our lives. They're not the measuring stick. Okay. We do not measure our self-worth or our happiness or any of those our success based off of our ideal, because our ideal changes all the time. We'll never have happiness with that. Okay. They're not the measuring stick. Ideals are unreachable by definition because they're always going to change as you grow. Okay. Goals, conversely, are reachable. So this graphic came straight out of the book, and it really resonated with me. So on the left side is how most of us are right now. And if you feel like you're working your butt off, or even if you're hitting a bunch of goals and you've reached a bunch of goals that you set 5 years ago that you're like, man, if I reach this goal, that's crazy. And you don't feel happy. You don't feel fully fulfilled on the daily basis. If you don't feel like you're in joy more days than not, more moments than not, then it's probably because you're visualizing the ideal, but you're measuring your success or progress based on where you are now to your ideal, which you're never going to close that gap. You're always going to feel empty. Instead, we need to shift to the thing on the right where you have an ideal. You have an ideal that you're visualizing towards. It's the 10-year plan, the 20-year plan, your vision that you're crazy, crazy excited about. You've got to recognize now that it's also going to likely adjust and shape as you grow. That ideal is going to change a little bit. But now what we do is we measure our success, we measure our happiness, our joy, our fulfillment on our growth. How much have we grown? Where did I start? And look how far I've come. Look at the goals that we have hit. Look how amazing this is. Let me revel in the gratitude of what has been given to me in this life. Let me revel in the gratitude of how I've grown so far. Let me look at how I am today versus 10 years ago and go, oh my gosh, I'm a completely different person in a good way. I'm so pumped that I've grown. Okay. And then recognize you've got an ideal that gives you focus and gives you direction, but that's it. That's not what you measure your happiness or success on. So as you're closing out this year, y'all, I want you to look at some of your goals you set for this year. Okay. So look at some of your goals that you set for this year and ask yourself, which ones did you hit? Have gratitude in those, celebrate those today, celebrate those before the end of the year, and ask yourself, what did I learn from reaching those, and how have I grown this year? Okay. And I can guarantee you that fulfillment's going to pop in more. Joy and success are not something you pursue in the future. They're something anyone can attain now. This mindset, I did a podcast on this years and years ago called it was called the if then concept. Man, if I hit this goal, then I will finally be happy and fulfilled. If I hit this, then if I find this spouse, then I'll finally be happy. If I get in good shape, then I'll finally feel confident. If I hit this income goal, then I'll finally be able to take my foot off the gas, right? No, that never happens. So if I do this, then I'll finally be fulfilled and feel accomplished and feel worthy. No, guys, it never happens. The ideal always changes. What we have to do right now is say, I can recognize that I can recall joy and fulfillment on demand at any moment. Guys, you guys can recall fulfillment and joy in any moment on demand. Okay? Any moment on demand. So if you can do that, then we already have the bulk of what we're wanting to do for 2022 today. We already have it. We already have what we wanted 5 years ago. We already have it today. So we just have to look at growth for the year ahead. Where do you want to grow? If you focus on what you lack, you lose what you have. If you focus on what you have, you gain what you lack. Let me read that again. If you focus on what you lack, I don't have this yet, right? And once I have this, then I want happiness. I want this. No. If you focus on what you lack, you actually lose what you have because you're not grateful in what you have. If you focus on what you have right now and you're grateful in that and the progress you've made, you gain what you lack. What you lack is purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. So guys, that is the key, the gap, the gain. Live in the gain, not the gap. Recognize there is a gap, but live in the gain. You're going for growth. You're going for gain. You're not going for an if-then thing, okay? So the two things that are needed to create a healthy gap is you need a clear vision. We're going to talk about vision here in a little bit. And you need clarity in where you are now. Like, what have you achieved that you're grateful for? So inside of the personal planning worksheet, pull it up. We'll go through it here in a bit. But there's some things in there. List your top 5 accomplishments and wins. That's the first page. And we're going to go through some of it here. But recognize those things. Okay. Learning number 2, the work is the reward. So Bruce Lee said this many, many years ago. The reward is found in the work. When I first heard this, I had no clue what it actually meant. I'm like, no, the reward it's the pot of gold at the end of the tunnel, right? The reward is the thing that I'm going to get when I get there someday. How many people resonate with this? How many people feel, man, you know what? Yeah, I'm going for something. I'm going for a reward that's in the future. And once I hit that reward, it could be a financial payoff. It could be a spouse. It could be whatever it is. Once I hit that reward, then I'll finally be fulfilled and happy, right? Then I'll finally have that confidence. Then I'll finally be able to go do X, Y, Z. Then I'll finally be able to give more. Then I'll finally be able to do whatever. What I've learned, guys, as I've grown and as I've hit so many of those goals is no, the work is in the reward. When we look at the time that we have on this planet, we should not be doing things on a daily basis that don't reward us for the chance at a future reward. Okay. What we're doing is we're gambling our lives, doing things that don't fulfill us, doing things where we're always living in the gap. We're gambling our lives for the potential chance of a future reward. And I can tell you that future reward is not going to be as amazing as you think it's going to be. Okay. When I had goals where it's like, man, once I hit the $100,000 a year number, I think the clouds are going to part, the angels are going to see, my life is going to change. It didn't. So I'm like, man, maybe it's just a bigger number. Maybe it needs to be like $100,000 a month. Right. And so hit the $100,000 a month number. And you're like, man, once that happens, clouds are going to part, angels are going to see. Guys, it didn't. And it's like, well, what about the $1 million a month number? We hit that number. It doesn't change. It doesn't change. So we have to start to pull back and say, how do we find more reward in our work? How do we make sure that we're doing the things that are important? This is a quote from Anthony. It says, the reward of a work is to have produced it. The reward of effort is to have grown by it. Guys, the reward of a work is to have produced it. The reward of effort is to have grown by it. All right, guys? Yeah, Tanya, $1 million a month. I've done it. It doesn't change anything. Like literally, I've had $1 million months. Does not change anything. Okay, does not change anything. Yeah, Mr. Deed says, I've heard it another way. Fall in love with the process, right? Fall in love with the journey. But why is it so hard for so many of us to actually do that? Because we're stuck in the gap in what we don't have, and we need to really pull back and say, how do I make sure that I'm focused on growth? Okay, there's no winning in life. Okay, you live. And then we die. There's no winning. There's no tally at the end of the life where we go, oh man, this person left with the most money. This person left being in the best shape. There's no winning and losing in life. There's only, did we spend our time well to make the impact while we were here and leave a legacy, right? Did we do that? And so guys, the reward is the work. So if you're showing up every day and you're doing work that's draining you, how do you change that to where that work gives you energy? How do you make it so even if you were to sell the company, or even if you were to have the option of selling the company, maybe you wouldn't because you love the work so much. That's what happened here with Carrot. It's like, man, I've had the opportunity to sell the company for more money than, it could be multiple generation wealth. Guys, I don't want that. I want the reward of the work, the reward of the impact. I want to have the reward of working with team members and helping us grow together and helping you guys. That's the reward. Okay. Lesson number 3 for 2021. Don't run from the problem, grow into the solution. Okay. So I want to talk about this one really quick. The reason you may not have the business of your dreams today is because you're not capable of running it right now. Okay. If you have an ideal of the business that you want to have, if you have an ideal of that and you're not running it, and that business does not exist the way that your ideal is right now, it's because you are not the person that's currently capable of running that business. Okay. And you have to ask yourself, why is that? What are the habits and disciplines that someone who would be successful running that business, what would they have? What habits and disciplines would they have? What would they be doing? What skill sets would they have adopted? Who would they have around them? Okay. And so if you have these goals, we can't run away from the problem. Okay. And that's something that's very, very natural for us that we want to do is we want to go, oh my gosh, this is so painful. It's so painful to grow through these things. Man, I got my first employee. It's painful to delegate to them. Maybe I'm just going to do all the work myself because they just can't get it right. Right. Or man, I'm at 10 employees now and I can't get my job done. Maybe I need to go back down to 6 where it was manageable. Right. Or you're having some success and you're doing $1 million a year and you're like, man, this is awesome, but I'm going to sell this company now because I have no clue how to actually grow it to the next level. And I'm afraid that the competition is going to eat my lunch. So many of us run away from the problem when the actual solution is growing. We need to run into growing into the solution. Okay. So the reason you may not have the business of your dreams today is because you're not currently capable of running it right now. What are those disciplines? What are those habits? There's this process from a friend of mine, Alex Sharf, and he created something called the Billionaire Code. Okay, the billionaire code, it applies to pretty much any business. And I'm not going to go into this in detail. We go into pretty good detail at some of the carrot camps. But the billionaire code walks through the different phases of business as it relates to income. Okay, so there's the seeker and starter are below 100,000 in income. Promoters 100 to 300K, builders 300K to 1 million, operators 1 million to 3 million a year. Leader is 3 million to 10 million. Where I'm right now, owner 10 million to 30 million, then on up. And then in here, it kind of explains how you likely are in the business and what things you need to solve. So if you're a starter, you're probably part-timing it. You probably have a job and you're asking, man, what's wrong with me? Why am I not getting momentum like I see so much in all the Facebook groups? Why am I not getting the momentum like I see in the case studies, right? And what we have to get clear on is like, this right here is what you got to get clear on and good at, is you have to go, well, who the heck am I serving? What's my market? What's my avatar? Get clear on it and decide on it. And then you have to actually go out there and create value. Once you nail that and you get to 100K, now you're a promoter. You're probably working full time. Now you might still have a job, but you're full time in this thing. You're probably working 30 to 40 hours a week in this thing that's making you 100 to 300K a year. But now you're going, man, how do I get ahead more? How do I get ahead more? It feels like I'm starting to make some good money, but after taxes and how much money I'm working or how much time I'm working, it doesn't really feel like the clouds of parted angels of seeing how do I get ahead more. And this is where you really need to focus on leveraging lead generation. This is where carrot comes in the most, right? If you nail lead generation at the 100 to 300K level, then you're going to be able to get up to the next level. You've got to generate leads and convert them consistently. Once you're up into 300K to 1 million, you're probably working overtime. You've got a handful of people on your team probably now, and you're sitting there going, oh my gosh, I'm making some really good money, way better money I thought I ever would 5 years ago, but I feel like I'm working 60 hours a week. How do I get further ahead now? You've got to start hiring a little bit of a team, delegating, and now you've got to leverage sales better. You've got a lead gen machine happening. Now you need to plug in people or processes to be able to leverage and close those deals better. And you need to build systems and processes around what you do well. You can no longer do all those things. You have to pull back and make systems and processes and now give them to people to do, right? To get up to that, that's how you get to 1 million. And now from 1 million to 3, now you've got to delegate your time. You've got to start to build that leadership team from 3 to 10 million. And you have to start to scale those things out. The reason I'm bringing this up is because as we're talking about being the person that can run the business of your dreams, if you're down here at the starter, 40K to 100K, and you're like, man, I want to have $1 million a year business. Look at all of the things your business and you have to learn how to do. And so these are the skill sets or disciplines you need to start to look at for 2022 to adopt. And you have to look at those and say, okay, I'm not the person right now who can run a $1 million a year business because I haven't figured out these things. So how do I figure out these things this next year? All right. So this is key, guys. So when you're growing, there's something called the rules of 3s and 10s. And the rules of 3s and 10s basically is everything breaks at those spots. And I can tell you when we cross over $10 million a year in revenue, or 30 to 50 employees, things broke, right? A lot. And it was really, really painful. And I'm not going to lie that there were moments when there's people making offers on my company that are life-changing, like generational life-changing. It was very, very tempting to go, let me run away from this problem of feeling like I can't solve how to make this business really get to that next level, how to make this business so it's what my dream business is. Maybe I can just run away from that problem and exit. Okay. But then I thought, you know what? If I do that, I'm never going to have the knowledge of how to grow through this phase in the business. I'm never going to have the chance to learn how to grow through this phase. And that for me outweighed the money. I'm like, I want the growth. I want the personal growth. The money comes secondary, third, fourth, fifth, whatever it is. Okay. So at 3s and 10s, at $100,000, and you guys can see these right here at 100,000. Okay. At 300,000, at 1 million, at 3 million, at 10 million. Okay. At those marks, things break. And just recognize that if you're around right before one of those marks or right after, then things are really, really hard. That's natural. You're exactly where you should be right now. Now it's your choice to make the decision to say, do I want to grow through this or do I want to run away from it? Do I want to run away from the problem and self-sabotage and get distracted with another business because you haven't figured out the new disciplines? Or do I want to face this problem head on, get the right coaching, get the right people around me, and learn how to get the new skill sets and disciplines to get through this phase? I want you guys to pop through the comments box exactly what you are facing right now. What challenges are you facing right now, y'all? What challenges are you facing right now to help you get to the next level? And I want you to commit to solving that challenge this next year rather than running away from it. Grow through the problem. Don't run away from the problem. Okay. If you're not where you want to be, don't quit. Instead, reinvent yourself and change your habits. Okay. So guys, lesson number 4, create more magical moments. This one right here really relates to the box that I showed earlier. This one right here. Because as we really look at how much time has already passed in our lives and then how much time we have left in our lives, the thing that pops up for me is how do I live like I was talking with my son the other day, and we were talking about life and death, and he had brought it up. He's 9 years old, and those thoughts start to kind of come into your mind at that age, and he's processing things. And I said, buddy, I'm going to live to be 150 years old. And he's a very smart dude. And he goes, Dad, he goes, that's impossible. I said, no, it's not impossible. Like, what if we invented something? Or like, I'm going to live to be 150 years old. Okay. And he goes, Dad, God only made us to live like 120 something years old, like maximum. I'm like, okay, it's cool. I'm going to live to be 120 years old then. And then he still wasn't believing that. I'm like, all right, 100 years. I'm going to live to be 100 years old, Colton. And guys, it doesn't mean I'm going to actually live to be 100 chronological years. Maybe I will. In my mind, I want to have 150 years worth of life in my lifespan. I want to have 150 years worth of life in this life that I'm giving. Whether I live 85 years or 95 or 105 or 75, heaven forbid, I want to have 150 years worth of life in my life. And so the question is, how do we actually squeeze more life experiences out of the same amount of time? How do we do that? Well, I read this book that changed my life, guys. It's kind of weird how things happen. So I got this book. It was on my counter. My wife put it on the counter as a random. And I order a lot of books. Okay, a book came in the mail. My wife must have thought, she assumed I bought it. She put it on the counter. I looked at it. I'm like, I have never heard of this book before. Okay, I've never read it. I definitely didn't buy it. It kind of looked weird. It didn't look like it was high polish. It didn't look like it was businessy. And I'm a pretty like business or personal growth guy. And I'm just sitting here going, man, so this is a book about death, and I'm a pretty positive guy. I don't want to read it. And I turned it to the back of it, and I read the foreword or whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, I got to read this book. And this is right around the time, it was before Adrian had passed away. It was around the time where I was facing some of those challenges this late summer, spring. And I was starting to think about some of the, like, am I spending the time in the right ways? And Eugene O'Kelly is the author of the book, and he was the former CEO of KPMG, one of the big 3 tax accounting firms, like multi-billion-dollar international corporation. He was the CEO. He'd worked at that place for 30 years. He was a CEO for, I think, for 6 or 7 years. And he had hit the pinnacle of his career. He was one of the most high-achieved corporate executives in the world. And he was diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor that they said would only give him 4 months to live. And this whole book is basically walking through that last 4 months. He wrote this book during the last 4 months to teach his life lessons. And he calls it chasing daylight. Is how do you chase more daylight? How do you make it so that daylight stays longer? And he created a concept called magical moments or perfect moments. So perfect moments more often make time stretch out and the years become more fruitful. Okay. Time slows down. Senses arouse. Everything in those moments are just right. These moments are what make life sweet. Busyness makes having perfect moments hard. Examples: a shared glance could be a perfect moment with someone where you, rather than looking down at your phone, you lock eyes with them and just make sure that they know that they were noticed. Okay. Letters to loved ones. I think that's a lost art, or writing thank you notes, just sitting down and writing something heartfelt to create a magical moment for somebody else. A phone call, right? It could be a simple phone call to a friend. One thing that I started to adopt about a month or two ago after this magical moments was every day. I haven't hit it every day this past month, but most days during the week I have. And I've just been going through my through my contacts from A to Z. And I literally am just going through it. And anyone that jumps up to me, I'm like, I want to hit them with the text message. And I just shoot them a text message. I do this almost every single day now. And I create those magical moments, just thinking about them. Okay. And walks in the park. Guys, I started to do outside walks downtown. Same thing. Kind of got out of some of those habits this last month. I'm going to get it back in. But it's just a magical moment. Every time I be out there, I'm like, man, time is slowing down. I'm seeing people. It feels vibrant. I see the birds out there. I see just the nature that God had created. I see buildings that look beautiful, that are run down, that we can buy and we can repurpose. It's a magical moment. Fabulous meals. Okay, intimate conversations. Magical moments, guys, are what stretch out the time so you can live 150 years worth of life in 80 years. Okay. What he had talked about in this book is he said him and his wife hadn't gone on a lunch date in 10 years prior because he was so focused on business stuff. And after that, the whole last 4 months, he completely shifted to be magical moment focused. And he said, if I were to change one thing, it would be to create more magical moments in my life far sooner. And he stretched that 4 months of life he had into what he felt were 10 years worth of magical moments. So guys, I highly suggest everybody get this book. Get this book, Chasing Daylight. I think it's going to give you so much to think about for 2022. And I finished this book on the flight back from my mastermind, I think it was, or an event. You guys, I'm not a crier at all. I come from a German Catholic family. I'm not a crier. And I was reading the last 2 chapters on the airplane. And it was when it was him struggling to get the last couple chapters of the book done because he was passing away and everything was it was stopping working. And his wife actually picked up and wrote the final chapter after he passed. And it hit me hard because I'm like, man, this type of thing could happen to any of us. And he had recognized magical moments or perfect moments in those last 4 months of his life. And it completely changed his life. And he was very content with his death at that point. Okay. But I'm thinking, man, am I doing that right now? Am I mattering for my family right now? Am I doing what I should actually be doing, or am I chasing things that don't matter? Am I chasing goals? Am I chasing ego? Am I chasing money? None of those things matter. At the end of the day, he was left with a bunch of money, and his family was left with an amazing last 4 months, but they didn't have the full guy for the previous 10 to 20 years. Imagine the impact on his family he could have made with that time, guys. I want to send the same challenge to you. I want you to create more magical moments. Create more magical moments. Okay. And it popped up for me, like I talked about when Adrian passed away in October. So for those of you guys who don't know Adrian Nez, he became a Carrot employee, not too long ago. Has actually been working with me at Carrot since 2015. He was one of our first 100 customers. He was a guy who I was physically on the phone with as a support guy, answering his questions. And he went from not knowing anything about online marketing to literally being an industry expert, being the guy that I send to go speak at events in my place, being the guy that I defer to him to speak about the things that I taught him years ago that he got way better at me than those things. I focus on business growth. He focused on being amazing at the lead gen side, and he was. And one of the things, guys, I'm so proud of him for in this previous year before he passed away was he made a really, really big mental mindset shift. And it's one of those things where you start to look at it and go, you know what, man, like God puts things out there in mysterious ways. And I can go through 18 different things that really you look back and go, oh my gosh, the path was laid for this to happen for him. I didn't want it to have it happen for him. I didn't want that to happen for his family, for us. Like none of us want him to pass away. But it goes back to counting trials as joy. Is we had so much amazing time with this guy. He made an impact on so many amazing people, including myself. And he laid such a path and foundation for his kids. He started to work his kids into the business. He'd create magical moments every single week, taking his kids to the properties. His kids would be there helping with the properties. They'd film videos for it. They started doing commercials. They started looking at the leads with him. They'd go on the property deals with him. He would take the kids to negotiate with sellers oftentimes. Guys, he was working them in there, teaching them while creating magical moments. He also was one of the best fathers that I've known. A couple months before he had passed away, his kids are really into trading cards. And there was a national trading card convention of some sort. And he took his kids to that convention. And he had so many things like that. He was such an amazing father, created so many magical moments, especially this past year. And we started to do the same thing with our kids. And so ways that I'm looking at creating more magical moments in the year ahead. And I want you guys to take these cues too. How can you create more magical moments with your spouse, with your kids if you have kids, with your family, with your friends? Okay. How is it that you can do that? Well, for me, with my wife, the date nights are a big part of what we're doing and really solidifying that and keeping it steady. Okay. With my wife, we have lunch hour blocked off every Wednesday now at noon. And we hit it most of the time, not every time, but we create a lot more of those magical moments. There's awesome time with my wife. With my kids, I pick up my kids from school on Fridays. I drop my kids off to school every single day. We have some amazing conversations and a couple other things that we've done that have created some really amazing magical moments. It sounds creepy, guys, but I can promise you it's awesome. I've recorded probably 75 bedtime conversations with my kids this past year. okay, where I take the kids to bed. We always, put them in the bed, pray with them, and then it'll turn into just random cool conversations with the 7-year-old, or 9-year-old, or 11-year-old, or whatever, right? And I'll take my phone and put it on voice recorder and just hit record on it. And many of them aren't anything of substance, but many of them go crazy deep. Like my 9-year-old, he had heard about someone dying a few days ago. He started to think about that. He started to think about death, and he's like, "Dad, I can't sleep." And he came in crying. And so we just started to talk about it. It turned into an hour-long conversation. I got some of it on recording, but we talked about life. We talked about death. We talked about purpose. We talked about how to make an impact while you're here. And he got insanely excited. He loves animals. And so he's literally coming to the office today to create a magical moment with me where he said, "Dad, I want to save more animals. Like, that's what I want to do while I'm here on earth." I'm starting to get choked up even talking about it. Not because he loves the animals, but because he cares about it. And I said, "Okay, buddy, so how do you want to do that?" And he said, "Well, it's probably gonna have to wait till I get older." I'm like, "Dude, you can do it right now. Like, you can do that right now." And he said, how am I going to do that? I don't have any money. I said, "Well, buddy, I have money. All right. And I have work that needs to be done. Now, I'm not going to give you the money because you've got to earn it. And so you have a part in helping save the animals. I want you to go find a charity that you really, really love that helps to save animals. And then I have some work for you at the office." And he said, "Well, what kind of work?" We talked through it a little bit, found something he was passionate about. He's a very organized kid. I'm not a very organized guy. So he's coming to the office in about an hour and a half to organize my office for a few hours heading into the year. And we're going to work on some things together. And he's going to earn some money, which then before the year, we're going to then donate to a charity of his choice to help make that impact. He's starting to see purpose even at a 9-year-old level. Guys, it's just so key. Create those magical moments. Okay. So the fifth one, then we're going to dive into planning, is this: think longer time horizon. So Warren Buffett said someone sitting in the shade today, because someone planted a tree a long time ago, right? So someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. If someone hadn't have planted that tree knowing that fruit wouldn't bear for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, the fruit would never be there. Okay. What happens with a lot of us is we plant a seed in the ground, we water it, we go, "Oh my gosh, this thing isn't growing fast enough." So we go plant another seed, and then we water it, we forget about the other one that we planted over here, and we stop watering it. We water this new one and go, "Oh my gosh, it's not growing enough." Then we plant another seed. And then you guys can see what's happening. We're thinking in time spans of 90 days. We're thinking in time spans of 30 days. We're thinking in time spans of 6 months. We're so impatient that we don't feel we're so impatient that we think that everything has to happen immediately. Guys, it takes work. It takes time. We have to think in longer time horizons. I discovered that the more successful people were that I met or that I studied, the longer term they thought. Okay. The most successful people in the world, as far as monetary, you look at Elon Musk, you look at Jeff Bezos, you look at those people. Guys, Elon Musk is literally thinking hundreds of years out. He's thinking hundreds of years out. Okay. He's not thinking 3 months out. He's not thinking how do I solve this little tiny problem today? He might get involved in that, but he's thinking hundreds of years out. And then he goes, "Well, we're going to get to Mars in 2035. Guys, that's almost 15 years out. Right. When you look at a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we're so focused on just getting results now, this week, this month, 90 days from now. And if things don't happen, we shift. And then if we keep shifting those plants, those seeds that we planted earlier, they die. And then we wonder, why didn't it work for me? It's because we weren't thinking far enough out. And so I created a concept that I've been really working into the business. I've got some frameworks we'll probably share this next year as we integrate them in the business more. But there's this bullseye. And I want you guys to think about this. Okay. On the outer rung is your vision. It's your mission. It's your values. That's where you're going 1 to 3 or more years out. Okay, that's where you should be focusing as the CEO of your company, whether you're a company of 1 or a company of 50 like us. Okay. Then next in is strategy. So we have vision, we have strategy, we have tactics. Next in, we have strategy. Strategy is kind of like, it's like the next 2 to 4 quarters out, right? It's like what's going to happen 6 to 18 months out. And so if we have a vision for where we want to go in 10 or 20 years or 5 years, and this worksheet on here is going to help you craft that over the next week, okay? It's going to be your 10-year, your 20-year, 10-year, and 5-year personal vision story. If we have clarity on that, and we have clarity where you want to go in business, we then pull back and say, okay, what's my strategy to get there this year, right? If you're a one-person show, you're doing the vision and you're doing the strategy. You're probably doing a lot of the tactics too, which are what do I need to do this quarter, this month, and this week. As your team grows, though, you need to move further and further to the outer rungs. As you get your first employee, you're going to do less of the tactics. So less of your time should be in tactics. More of it should be in strategy. Okay. And if I were to kind of give you some recommendations, if you're, let's say, less than $250,000 a year in revenue, you're probably going to be something like 60 to 70% of your week is tactics, like actually making the phone calls, actually showing up to the appointments, actually building the systems, actually building the processes. Okay. Maybe 20 to 30% should be strategy, is really pulling back on a quarterly basis and saying, hey, what is our strategy next quarter to get our leads up? Or what's our strategy to close more deals next year, or next quarter, whatever it is, right? And then maybe 10% of your time should be vision. Focus, a half a day a month. Focus an hour or two a week on thinking more than a year out. What's the economy doing? Where am I in my lifespan? Where are my kids at? Where's my spouse at? What should I be preparing for in a year, 2, 3 years out? And make sure your schedule shows that. Make sure your schedule starts to show that. And you can start to then say, time block in time for thinking. Just time for thinking on the vision side of things. An hour or two a week, half a day a month, whatever you want to do there. Okay. And then strategically block in strategy time on your schedule every single week. For me, that's on Wednesdays. All Wednesday is strategic or vision. Okay. The whole day Wednesday is thinking at least 2 or more quarters out, all of Wednesdays. That's me making frameworks. That's me looking at hires that need to happen. That's me creating process that then can be handed off for people, making sure we're doing the right strategic involvement, coaching, coaching team members, things like that. Okay. And then each month I have about an hour or two where I pull back and look at vision. Are we heading the right direction? Am I still excited about it? Is it the right thing? Okay. So lengthen out your time horizons, guys. Lengthen out your time horizons as your business grows. David Littlejohn, if you're still on here, man, he's got a good, solid business. So he should be spending a lot less time in tactical, a lot more time in strategic and vision. All right, guys, lengthen out your time horizons. The further out you think, the more successful you will be. The closer to the time, to your current time that you think, the least successful you'll be, the more you'll shift, the more you'll get frustrated, the more you'll get burnt out. All right. So guys, let me know before we shift on to part 2, we're going to start to do your plan now. Okay. We're going to start to do your plan. I want to ask you guys, what's been your biggest takeaway so far? What's been your biggest takeaway so far? Robbie, I love the car time with the kids. Mine are grown now, but the car talks are wonderful. Guys, let's, this right here. Used to make up Tiffany stories for my daughter when she was 5 about adventures she'd have with a friend named Tiffany. Roger, write those down, man. Like, that would be amazing. If you can remember some of those, write some of them down and create them for your grandkids maybe, or something like that. That'd be way, way cool. Okay. This right here, it was already shared, but guys, Adrian was an amazing, amazing guy. So cool. So guys, let me know what your biggest takeaway is so far. Have you had a mindset shift? Those are my 5 biggest mindset shifts this year. I've had a lot of them. Those are the biggest. Now we're going to dive into something called the 3 key resources, and then we're going to create your plan together. All right, guys. Yeah, right here, recording conversations with your kids. Dude, it's so big. I go back and listen to those from even a couple of years ago. I started it years ago. I did a lot more this year. I'm like, man, that conversation is going to be gold in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. It's going to be so cool. So cool. All right. So guys, the 3 key resources, I want you to grab a pen and pad. We're going to be fast and furious this next hour. Okay. I want you to grab your pen and pad, y'all. And I want you to draw these 3 circles on that piece of paper. I want you to draw these 3 circles on the piece of paper. Okay. And the reason I'm doing all this right now and going through the mindset shifts and going through this before we set goals is because if we set goals before we make the mindset shift, we might be setting the wrong goals. Okay. If we set goals that are under indexing what we're capable of, we're going to be having a hard year this year. If we set goals based on fears that we have and running away from problems versus being head on facing those problems, we're going to have a hard year this next year. Okay. And the 3 biggest things I want you to focus on for this next year are these 3 key resources that you have in your life. This is a framework that I made on an airplane on my flight over to Nashville, Tennessee in August to the Investor Fuel Mastermind. And I met many of our Carrot Camp people there. If you guys want to sign up for Carrot Camp, carrotcamp.com. I think you can register for that right now, either on the wait list or you might be able to buy tickets right now. If not, we'll launch those tickets here in the next 30 to 60 days. But carrotcamp.com, guys, that's where I dive into these types of topics crazy deep, and we're right there with people. Okay. So the 3 key resources in your life, write these circles, write the time, money, and then health and energy. Okay. So on the money side of things is the only one of these three key resources that's actually readily available that you can get more of on demand. Okay, yet we treat it like it's scarce. That's the crazy thing, right? Money is the only one of these three that we can actually get on demand, and we treat it like it's scarce. We treat it like it's the most scarce of all three. We're all guilty of it, right? And so then we have health and energy. It's the only one that's guaranteed to go down over time. Yet it's commonplace that it's the last one on the list of priority while we have it, right? So money is readily available. We can get it on demand with the right skills, okay? But yet we treat it as scarce. Health and energy is health anyway, is one that's guaranteed to go down over time, right? But it's the one that we focus on the least oftentimes. Time, we focus lots of energy and time trying to manage it, which is a losing game. We think that by buying the next productivity course or whatever is going to solve it. Guys, what if you're trying to be productive with the wrong things, right? Like what if we're trying to prioritize the wrong things? You're doing the wrong things that you shouldn't even be doing. Time is crazy, crazy important. We all have the same amount of time. How is it that with the same 24 hours a day, same 365 days a year, how is it that one person is able to achieve 10, 100, 1,000x the results than another person with the same amount of time? It's mindset, it's beliefs, it's habits and disciplines and knowledge. That's it. Mindset, beliefs, habits, disciplines, knowledge. I'm going to share with you guys how to become a better person to leverage that time better here in a bit. So those are your three key resources. Okay. Awesome. I love it. I love it. Fit for freelance. I love it. So right here, I drew this framework, taking those three key resources and saying, okay, so if those are our three key resources, how do they map across our lifespan? Let's kind of picture that dot graphic that I showed before of the 90 years. Let's kind of put it now on a graph like this. How does that work on the lifespan? So right here, buyback time and energy is what we're going to be focusing on. So this is money. Okay, this yellow deal is money. This is, you start in your 20s, not a lot of it usually, right? You start to find some ways to build it. In your early 30s, you kind of start to figure out some things oftentimes. And then usually entrepreneurs oftentimes will kind of find their stride in their mid 30s, maybe around 40, 45, maybe. I know a lot of people who hit their stride late, like Colonel Sanders, as an example with KFC, guys. He didn't have success until he's in his mid 60s. Okay. Henry Ford had two failed auto upstarts before Ford Motor Company actually was successful in his late 30s. Okay. So it's not always the same for everybody. On the flip side of it, you have billionaires who are 22 or whatever, right? So this is on average a good representation across most people. Okay. So this is your money. You have not a lot of money in the early days. It starts to grow. And then right around here, 30 to 40, 30 to 50 is where you kind of maximize that earning potential right there. And then you go into potential retirement, and then your money starts to go down usually, unless you have a lot of it to where your money's making so much money you can't spend it. And then it starts to go down, right? And so then right here, this is your health and energy. So you start with a lot of it, right? You're limber, you can move your body, your aches and pains aren't there. You have a lot of energy in your 20s and 30s, but it starts to go down. Now, this isn't a representation of what yours likely is, because I know lots of people who had really bad downtrends, and then they changed their life around their health and energy. They started eating better, drinking more water. Right here, guys, get your water. Drinking more water. They started moving their body, and their health and energy actually went up to where it should have been. Okay. So theirs wouldn't have been a decline like that. It would have been a sharp decline like this. And then they would have been getting it back up to where it should have been. Okay. So this is just representative. Overall, our health and energy goes down over time, right? But then this last one here, this is your time. This is your free time that you have. You have a lot more time when you're younger. You probably don't have kids at that point. You probably don't have the mortgage and all of those types of things that are potentially making it harder for you to leverage time elsewhere. But as you start to build a family and you start to have other commitments and your earning it goes up, your free time actually goes down. And so what we can see is this right here. There's this kind of perfect spot between your early 30s and upwards of mid 50s to 60s. And I want this to be a generalization for you. I know there's people in here who are in your 50s or 60s or 70s. There might even be people in here in your 80s, and I congratulate you for that. And I'm so pumped that you're here, and I want to be you someday. Okay, but in general, our income potential, our time, and our health, the maximum time period is right here in the 30s, 40s, going into the mid 50s. So the question is, Why is it that so many people are building up and they're going to retire at some age in the future? So then they can finally use that time to then go do things. Then they can go use that time to go hike the French Alps or whatever it is. But the problem is we're not at our maximum of health and energy at that time. So if we're waiting till we're older to do all these things, what happens is we end up not having the full physical capability to have the energy to go do those that we could have if we're younger. Now, once again, if you're at the younger side of things or the older side of things of the spectrum, I don't want you to feel like you've got a disadvantage. You have an advantage because you're here. You have an advantage because if you're on this call, you are going to have more health and energy than people who are not on this call because you have goals, you have a vision, you're moving, you're driving, you're doing things to better yourself. Okay. So what we want you guys to do is, I call this the grind phase, your 20 to 30s, 30 to 40 is your grow phase. Okay. But I call this range here, your mid 30s up into 60 or so is your buyback time. Okay. 55 and above is your legacy or compounding time. And if you're in this range, if you're in the mid 30s, so let's say mid 50s, guys, what you should be focusing on big time if you have some income coming in is using that income to buy back your time. Okay, don't use the income just to make more money. Use the income to buy back your time so you can then use it for magical moments. You can use it for creating those experiences that are once in a lifetime experiences while you have the energy. Create the time, guys. Don't let your business own you. You own it. Okay, I'm gonna buzz through this one right here. That's my entrepreneur freedom formula that I'll present to you guys later. We have a group of people that are called our authority leader clients, and they're our highest level clients and our highest level plan. It's a beta plan right now, around $1,000 a month. And I'm not going to go through what it is right now, but in 2022, guys, we have some amazing things in store for all of you authority leaders. I'm not going to say what they are now, but this graphic right here is going to become a big part of the Authority Leader program moving forward. And I'm going to become a big part of it as well with you guys. So keep an eye out for that. If you're interested in the Authority Leader program, guys, hit up our sales team, go to live chat right now, hit them up and say, I want to elevate. I want to learn more about the Authority Leader program. And we can help you with that. All right, guys. So let's start our personal plans. All right. Start our personal plans. I love it. Here's another great book in here. Zachary says Redeeming Your Time by Jordan. Amazing. Awesome. Joining in from your goal setting workshop. I love it. Roger says the billionaire code is really valuable as a checklist for what I'm ready to grow into. Yes, Roger, 100%, man. Tom, health trumps all. I love it. Tyler, awesome. What's up, buddy? Amazing. So, guys, we are going to start your personal plan now. Okay, so I want you guys to get that personal planning worksheet ready. Print it off if you're going to write it out, or get the PDF and you can type it out, or put it on your iPad right now so you can write out, which is what I do. And grab that worksheet. Okay, but we're going to start with this. When I came across this quote probably 6, 7, 8 years ago, and I've been asked the question, right? It's like, what's your definition of success? What is it? Is it money? Is it success? Is it whatever? And when I read this really resonated with me. I'm like, this is probably it. You know, it says, someone once told me the definition of hell: the last day you have on earth, the person you became will meet the person you could have become. Okay, the definition of hell is the last day you have on earth, the person you will meet. The person you became will meet the person you could have become. The reason this hit me so hard is I'm going, we all have this potential in us that is untapped. We have beliefs getting in our way. We have habits and disciplines getting in our way. We have things getting in our way that we can solve today, right now, with a mindset shift. And my definition of success is to literally reach the end of my life, whenever that is. Hopefully it's 150 years from now, right? It's reach the end of my life. And the person that I meet that was my potential is the person that I am. That's my definition of success. Is I grew in to be the best version of myself and contributed the most to this world while I was here. Okay. The reason for me it's important to be the best version of myself, the best version of who God created me to be, is because for me, we were not put on earth to consume, guys. We were put on earth to create. We were put on earth to be here to create and add value to the world, to humanity, to grow love, to help people. And if I'm not becoming the best version of myself, I left people unhelped. I left people on earth that are not going to get the help that they need. It's my duty to help as many people as I possibly can to live lives of freedom and impact. And we do that through business. And so I want you to picture that for yourself. Like, what is that version of yourself in the future that you'd be, man, that person that person I'd be insanely proud to call me. That person is my potential. That person is the person I'm going to be going for. Okay. And there's a concept called being versus becoming. And when we're making our plans for this next year, we have to be thinking about this, because our plans, our beliefs are actually going to be dictating our plan for the year ahead. Okay. We have to focus on who do we want to become and who are we currently being right now. And there is a gap there, and we have to be grateful for how we've grown so far. But if we want to become a certain person, we have to visualize that person first. What habits do they have? What traits do they have? What disciplines do they have? How do they show up in life? How do they show up in marriage? How do they show up in relationships? How do they show up in business? How do they show up when they walk into the room? How do they care for people? Okay. Visualize those traits, habits, and disciplines of that ideal person. The worksheet, the personal planning worksheet, has a section for that, guys, in here on being versus becoming on page 4. We'll walk through that here in a second. Okay. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. And then once you realize that person that you want to become, we have to then say, what are the habits and disciplines that I need to adopt to get there? We're going to talk about that here in a second. Okay. I'm going to skip this slide just for sake of getting through this time wise. And we're going to go through the 6 F's on the worksheet here in a bit. Okay. But let's go ahead and do this right now. I'm going to share my iPad now. And we're going to jump over to iPad land. I'm going to do some Trevor drawing time with you guys today. And let me know, guys, once again, in the comments box, if this is resonating. But I want you guys to pick up this worksheet. We're going to spend probably 15 to 20 minutes on this worksheet. And I'm going to give you guys a start. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a start. I want you guys and gals to finish it, though. Okay, I want you guys and gals to finish it, though. And if any of you guys are wondering, there is the links below this presentation. Like I said, if you're not a Carrot member yet, this is the perfect time to join. Click the link to join as a Carrot member. And we actually brought back the Cyber Monday deal, and you're going to save $200 if you join before the end of the year. If you're not a member yet, perfect time to join and get some momentum. If you're already a member and you're not an advanced marketer member yet, it's a perfect time to upgrade before the end of the year. We're going to give you our 30-day challenge for free in January to get you a jump start. And we're going to actually save you $198 in that process as well with that upgrade. Okay. So guys, make the upgrade in there if you're an existing member, or if you are, if you're not a member yet, then go ahead and join today. Perfect timing for it. But let's share it. Let's go ahead and share this screen here. We're going to pull this out. So bring this up, guys. And like I said, I'm just going to buzz through this. I'll answer some questions. Then we'll touch on the business planning side of it. And I want you guys to block out some time. I'll answer some questions. We had already talked about some of this before, right? We talked about listing your top 5 accomplishments. This is to create the gratitude. Okay. This is to create the gratitude and to create the gain. Okay. Gratitude and the gain. All right. We want to focus on how we've gained so far. How did you grow? For me, man, I learned to swim. Okay. I'm crazy pumped about that. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, where I need to be. I can't swim in open waters like across the big thing yet. I will, but I'm so pumped on where I got to, because I'm 39 years old, and up to this spot in my life, I hadn't learned that skill set. And for me, the thing, guys, that really urged me to grow that skill set was we live on a river. We have a swimming pool, and our kids love the water. And I would absolutely hate to have a situation where my kids or their friends were in the river or the pool and I couldn't save them. Like, that would tear me up for the rest of my life. And so that's why I learned how to swim this year, was for that. All right. So list your top 5 accomplishments. Another one, if I were to put in here, and so that why was what I just described there. So put in your top 5 accomplishments, guys. I'll pick one more top accomplishment for me. And I think it's really around this last 90 days, especially how I've grown as a leader. I've grown there a lot, but also I have a lot of room to grow still, massive room to grow. Okay. So guys, go through after this workshop and list your top 5. List the ones that you know right now while you're here, if you want to. Okay. Then what I want you guys to do is we are going to do this part live, and then I'll buzz through the rest of it. I want you guys to do the rest of it outside of this workshop when you have quiet time to think. Okay. So we're going to do this part of it live. I want you guys to pull it up with you right now, or grab a piece of paper, because you guys can do this right now. I changed it to 7 F's on here. It's actually six F's with an L, but 7 F's sounds better. So what I want you guys to do is grade yourself on a 1 to 5. Okay, a 1 to 5. 1 being, man, you know what? It couldn't be any worse in this category of my life. A 5 being couldn't be any better, right? So content, so amazingly happy, don't need to grow, couldn't be any better. Okay. And I'm going to give you guys about a minute to buzz through these 7 and ask yourself, how did I do on these year? How am I on these right now? A snapshot in time right now today. Okay. How are you on faith? Or it could be spiritually. It's connecting with whatever that higher power is for you. For me, it's God. How are you doing with that journey? Because for me, that's where the true meaning comes. When we're trying to chase something that's elusive, like money or success or ego, those things don't feed you. We think that they do, but they don't. I've experienced it. It doesn't feed you. What feeds you is how you can connect with the purpose with something greater than yourself. For me, anyway. Okay, so give yourself a grade there. I'm going to go through and give my honest scores right now as well, and I'll give you guys 60 seconds. Put your scores in. And then go ahead and put it in there right now, right? 60 seconds on the clock. And the cool thing is, guys, as I'm going through this, I'm recognizing where my scores were last time. I do this almost every quarter. And so for me, when I do this quarterly, and then I look back on mine from the start of the year, I go, man, look how much I've grown there. Because in some areas I've actually shrunk or got worse, but in some I grew, and I try to be grateful for the ones I grew in. Friends, I'm gonna do a 3 there. I was able to spend more time with friends this year. It's just it hasn't cropped up as my top priority there. Like I said, I did make at the beginning of this last year, friends was a 2, so I grew at 1 point. Grateful in that. Fitness and health, if I would have put this in March, guys, it would have been a 4, right? Because I'm really hard on myself without giving the perfect scores, because there's always room for improvement. Right now, man, it's kind of a bummer because I let myself get into the spot. These grew big time. Okay, that grew a little bit, and this I think came down to, I'm just going to say a 2 right now. I'm still working out. It's just not every day. I'm not drinking all the water that I need to drink. I'm drinking most of it. But that's something I want to get back into really, really crushing, because as we look at that lifespan, I want to make sure that my healthy years are extended by being healthy today, right? Finances, I'm going to say a 4. My biggest thing for 2022 financial wise is I do a really good job creating income from my businesses, but I want to be able to, but I still work in my businesses. I want to make it so income growth can happen without as much involvement on the day-to-day tactical as it currently is right now. Fun, I'm going to do a 3 there. And then learning, I am 4+ there. I'm learning a lot right now. Okay. So after you put down your scores, I want you to circle 1 or 2 that are your lowest scores. Okay. I want you to circle 1 or 2 that are your lowest scores. So for me, it's circling this again, which that's the funny thing, right? I had my best of the last decade and worst in the last 5 years all in the same year, because I took my eye off the habits and disciplines that got me there, but I grew habits and disciplines that got these to grow. So I'm grateful in those. I don't feel bad about it. I'm just like, okay, I got to adjust something again. Right? So I'm going to circle that one. And you know what? I'm going to circle this one. I'm going to circle these. I'm going to circle these 2 together, because in general relationships, I want to go deeper this year. I want to go far deeper with relationships this year. So from there, guys, what we do is in this, take those areas that you want to grow the most in. So for me, it's going to be this, this and this. And I would suggest you writing in, how do you want to grow there? Where do you want to grow? Okay. For me, I want to get back into best shape in 2022, but with a sustainable program. Okay. And next, I want to do a race. I'm gonna do a sprint triathlon this year. Okay. And the way that I like to do this is I like to pick a challenge. So if you pick a challenge, something that's very specific, something you can execute really quickly. So for me, before the end of the year, I'm going to book my sprint triathlon. I've already looked at the ones that are available, and before the end of the year, I'm going to book this. Okay. So book sprint triathlon before end of year. Okay, bam. So that's my action item there. Right here, best shape of my life. I'm going to book that sprint triathlon, which means I need to then find training program and accountability by Jan 7th. Okay, so by January 7th, I'm going to find a training program for the sprint triathlon, and I'm going to get an accountability group. For me to make something work, you've got to, number one, have a specific you have to have a challenge that's specific. Okay. It's got to be specific. It's got to be time-based, and you have to have accountability. For me, guys, That's where I make the biggest growth. Specific, time-based accountability. So whatever you're putting in here, make it specific, make it time-based, and have accountability behind it. Okay, so I'm going to sign up for that sprint triathlon with my wife. She's already agreed to it with my wife. So there's my accountability. It's by end of the year is when I'm going to book it, and it's specific. It's a sprint triathlon. Okay, so for fitness, I want to get the best shape of my life. That's not specific. Right? That's not specific. What the next action item is that's specific is get a training program and accountability group set up for it by January 7th. That's specific. I want to get the actions in place right now that will guarantee me better success with the habits. Okay. What oftentimes we end up doing when we're trying to change these habits or disciplines is we're planning out our year is we say, I want to get in shape, or I want to work out 3 days a week. Guys, working out 3 days a week is not an outcome that's going to help you be successful. Because what happens if you only get two workouts in that week? You're going to feel like you're a failure, right? You're going to feel like you're a failure, but you're not a failure. Okay, the question is, are you growing? Did you grow this past month? Did you grow in that area? If you didn't grow, then yeah, you need to figure out how to grow and get more consistent with it. If you grew, don't feel bad about what you did or did not do if you grew. If you grew, throw up your hands and celebrate, right? But we have to have it very specific because I can say without a shadow of a doubt, did I do this thing or not? And I can guarantee you that if I get a training program and I get accountability group with this, with other people who are going to do something like this, I guarantee it will help increase my chances of success. Okay, so let's do this really quick right now, guys. Let's do this really, really quick. I'd love to do one of these with you guys right now. I'd love to do one of these with you guys. Someone say what your lowest score was, and then let's work through together to pick a challenge for you. And I want to see you stepping into crushing it here. Okay, guys. So pop through. I'll take the first one or the best one that jumps out to me. I see Dylan says, health where do you go? Health and fitness right here. Got to pay attention to that. So it sounds like that's his lowest. Exactly. Yeah, right here. Mr. Deeds says, as specific as possible so it's measurable and holding yourself accountable would be better. Have someone you're accountable to. This has been my biggest growth year so far. Guys, the key with it, though, is, once again, I think a lot of people will put work out 3 days a week. That's not, for me, that does not work. Okay. What has to be specific is think about what's the very next step. What's the very next step? Okay. If I want to get in amazing shape, the very next step for me that's going to guarantee me progress and momentum is getting a race signed up for that. Gives me accountability and getting a program and an accountability group by a certain date. Now, that is going to guarantee me progress. Okay. If I just say I'm working out 3 days a week, that doesn't solve it. For me, when I did this in 2018, for me, I'm like, I need to get in good shape. My next step, my challenge was get 3 personal trainers to come in here by Friday next week so I can interview them and pick one by the Monday next week after that. That was my challenge. I knew if I had a personal trainer and hired one by that 2 Mondays out, that I would guarantee I would make growth. I'd have growth and momentum. Okay, let's do this. Matt, awesome, right here. He said, I had very little fun, need to plan trips. Let's do this, dude. Right now, what's happening. So if you want to play along a little bit. So Matt, what is your best idea? Right here. So fun was a 2 for Chase as well. So we can nail it for both of you guys. Okay. So Matt, if you were to think of like, what is fun for you, man, I wish, guys, is there any way we can bring Matt on? Probably not unless he gets in the StreamYard, huh? If not, don't worry about it. Matt, what is fun for you? If you can think of this past 2 to 3 years and you're like, man, this type of stuff was so much fun. What is it that's the most fun? Teresa, fun is in hers as well. Guys, this is because we're in that gap versus gain mindset, because we're always picturing the gaps that we have, right? We're picturing, oh my gosh, I'm not there yet, so therefore I can't be as happy and fulfilled and release the pressure off and spend time to go do these fun things yet because I'm not there yet, right? But what we have to do is recognize and realize, guys, look at how far I've come. Let me give myself a reward to do this, because when you have more fun, it will help you towards your goals better. And guys, I'm saying this from experience, and I still have bouts of this myself, where you have this entrepreneurial guilt, right? You have this entrepreneurial guilt where you go, shoot, well, I already work 40 hours a week or 30 or 60 or whatever, however many hours you work a week. I don't now want to go talk to my spouse and go golfing every weekend, or, man, I can't do this. Or you feel entrepreneurial guilt with your team. You're like, oh shoot, they're working their butts off, and I can't say I'm going to go golfing, every Wednesday because they're working their butts off. And what kind of message does that send? Guys, we've got to rid ourselves of the entrepreneurial guilt. Entrepreneurial guilt has to go away. Okay. And I struggle with this. So the way we get rid of entrepreneurial guilt is to set boundaries and expectations ahead of time with those people. So one thing that worked with my wife is I started to get rid of more of that entrepreneurial guilt when I just said, hey, babe, what do you love to do? I want to help you fill your cup. And I would work with her to plan out her date nights with her friends, things like that first. And then I would go, amazing. So she's locked in. I don't feel guilty because now she has her time scheduled. And then I say, awesome. Now let's work together on getting mine scheduled. And so that's where the golf trip came in. Her and I solidified. We preloaded our year for the next year. We have almost all of our trips planned for next year, like our big ones. I already have my Band and Dunes trip locked in and booked for next year in May. I've got my sprint triathlon that I'm going to book before the end of the year. And there's a couple other things fun-wise that I already have scheduled for the year. Okay. So get rid of that guilt. Same thing with your team. Tell your team, hey guys, in order so I can serve you better, I'm going to start to take this time away. Okay. So I don't work after 3:00 on Fridays already. And I'm going to be adjusting my schedule quite significantly in 2022 to give myself more time for focus on strategic and vision items to be able to really serve my team better. And in exchange for all that really heavy mental brain work, I need to then find some ways to take some more time off in strategic spots where it doesn't hurt the team. So set those expectations early and communicate them, and that guilt goes away. All right, awesome. So Matt, thanks, man. So right here, a trip to the mountains. Let me get some water real quick, guys. We're going to bring this puppy home in the next 20 minutes. All right, trip to the mountains. So Matt, where ideally would you love to go next? Like pick a very specific spot. Are there people you would want to go with? Is there a certain date range that you could pick? What would be the very next step for you that would guarantee you to get more times up in the mountains? Okay. So what would be the very next step? Is it saying before the end of the year, I'm going to pick 3 trips or 1 trip each quarter into the mountains. And before the end of the year, I'm going to text message these friends or these family members to see if they want to go with me. Okay. So when I looked at the Band and Dunes trip, as soon as I booked it, I then said, okay, now we're booked. And what do? I sent a text message to a buddy of mine right here. I said, hey, dude, this is Aaron and Mauch. It's not going to come through clear. But I said, Aaron, Band and Dunes, May 4th and 5th. I booked 2 groups of 4 for 4 rounds just to lock it in. Now reaching out to see interest on those dates, Pacific Dunes and Band and Dunes day 1, Old Mac and Sheep Ranch day 2. If people would rather do 3 total rounds, we could do that too. Let me know if there's 1 or 2 other people you would love to have there. Guys, I've sent that message out to 3 or 4 other people today, getting it done before the end of the year to get that motion going. Okay, so awesome. Matt says, wife, Blackhawk, Colorado. Awesome, dude. So Matt, what would be the very next step that you could do literally before the end of the year to guarantee you more mountain time? What could be the very next step? Right here, Homero says, I'm down to go to the mountains. Dude, hook up and get some mountain time going. So Cold Springs Campground, great idea in booking those dates. Do it now, Matt. I want to have you commit to doing it now. If you do this, Matt, if you book the campground in Cold Springs for a date before the end of the year, email me. And as long as it's under $200, I'm going to send you the money to pay for your camping spots. Okay. So before the end of the year, as long as it's under $200, I will Venmo you the cash to pay for those camping spots. You've got to have it booked before January 1st though. Okay, my email is trevor@carrot.com. Jen, my assistant, will grab. I'll let her know what's coming down. And Matt, thank you for participating, dude. Get that booked. I want to reward you with paying for those camping spots for you. I'll Venmo you $200. Even if it was only $100, I'll Venmo you $200. You can go pay for some supplies or whatever. All right, buddy? We got you, man. So trevor@carrot.com. Get that in place now before the end of the year. Guys, I want you guys to pick your items as well. Pick 1 or 2 and then do a specific challenge. Right? Being versus becoming. We already talked about that a little bit. And in this worksheet here, I want you to write down what are some of the ways that you don't like that you're showing up. I like to start there of recognizing where I need to improve or change. And then we have to say, like, why is it important that those change? Like, why do they need to change? Right? And now down here, we say, awesome. If those are the things that need to change, those are the things I don't like the way I show up. As an example, I don't like that I am still late for many things. I've gotten better, but I don't like that fact. I don't like the fact that sometimes I do have that entrepreneurial guilt or that guilt, and it's because I don't plan ahead enough sometimes. I don't like the fact that I don't go really, really deep with people. That's just something that I'm continuing to work on. I go really deep with my wife, with my kids. with several other people, but I want to get a lot more deep with people. That's something that I've kind of struggled with my whole life. And so this right here, guys, becoming, who is that person I want to become? Like literally write down in here, write down the traits, the habits, the disciplines. How do they show up when they walk in a room? How do you want to show up and walk in the room? What types of things does that person do? What are they good at? Visualize that person you want to become and write it in. Okay. And then next, from that visualization, we go, well, what are the habits and disciplines I need to adopt to become that person? And you can even take actual people. It could be me. It could be someone else you look up to and say, I love the way that person shows up. I'm going to borrow that part of their identity and put it in here as my vision. I love that discipline that they have. Man, I really want that discipline. Write those down. Okay. And then start to write down those habits and disciplines that you want to focus on improving this next year. Okay. And then we go into beliefs, being and becoming. This is the last part of this worksheet that I'm going to really talk about. Then we're going to go into the business side of it. We're going to wrap. Okay. So the belief side of it. If we want to live this stuff up here, if we want to live those habits, if we want to live this version of this person, okay, if we want to live this and we're not that person now, it all starts with our beliefs. Okay, we're not that person right now because there's certain beliefs holding us back. Okay, if you're a person who says I'm not a morning person and literally waking up early is going to be that thing that unlocks it for you, it's a belief that says you're not a morning person. Because you have a belief that said, hey, I do my best work at night, or you have a belief that, man, I just wake up groggy, and so therefore I must not be a morning person. I'm not saying you have to be, okay? But that's an example. Or you can have a belief to say, man, that person over here is just, they're vibrant, they're high of energy, but you know what? I was born into a family that is all overweight, and there's no way I can become this person, right? There's just no way because I'm born big boned or I have bad genetics or whatever. Guys, that's a belief. Okay. There's a guy that I literally saw post on Facebook today. His name is Justin Troxel. If you're watching this, Justin, what's up, dude? He's local here to Roseburg. He's an entrepreneur. We helped him kind of give some inspiration to get out the door and get going. I had no clue until he posted this, guys. He was always a big dude. He lost 130 pounds this year. 130 pounds. I'm like, whoa, that dude changed. He changed his beliefs. He changed the belief to say, I've got this vision for the person I want to become. And in order for me to do that, I have to realize I'm worthy of becoming that person, that I can become that person. Are there going to be challenges? Yes. Is it going to be hard? Yes. But I can become this person. Change that belief. When you change the belief, guys, you'll make choices that reinforce the belief. If you have a belief that you're a night owl, you'll choose to eat late. You'll choose to stay up late, and that will reinforce that belief. If you have a belief that you can never get in amazing shape, or that you have genetics, you will make choices then that reinforce that belief. You'll grab the soda pop instead of the water. You'll eat the unhealthy food instead of the healthy food. You'll not move your body as much because you'll go like, well, what's it worth? It's my genetics. Guys, that's your belief. When you make those choices, either positive choices or bad choices, those become your commitments. You're committing to drink unhealthy. You're committing to be unhealthy. You're committing to no movement. I think a lot of us think a commitment is something that we choose to do. Commitments are oftentimes something that we choose to not do. Commitments are something we're choosing to not be healthy. We're choosing to not drink the water. We're choosing to stay up late. We're choosing to eat unhealthy foods. We're choosing to be around the wrong people. When we do that, that is our commitment. Those commitments, guys, are our discipline. Okay, we think that disciplines are something that you work hard to get. No, your discipline is what is your reputation. Your discipline is waking up late and sleeping in. You have a discipline of hitting your snooze button. That's your discipline. You have a discipline of not drinking enough water, which makes you groggy and low energy. You have a discipline of eating unhealthy foods. You have a discipline of putting off the most important things. You have a discipline of not creating a good schedule. You have a discipline of doing these things that are not serving you. The question is, how do we create better disciplines that create the reputation we want? It all comes back to being clear on who we want to become, and then changing our beliefs and being so locked into those beliefs, and knowing, like for me, one of the beliefs is I truly have a belief that when you're healthy and vibrant and moving your body, you will extend your lifespan. And I want to have the longest, most healthy life I possibly can. I truly have a belief that when you're moving, active, drinking lots of water and eating healthy, that it gives you more energy. I've experienced it. Okay, so if that is my belief, then I will choose to make those habits. Now, why is it that sometimes we get knocked off? We get knocked off because we get some negativity coming in our life, right? This negativity speaks into us and we forget that vision. we forget that vision. Whenever we get knocked off those disciplines, usually it's not that we don't believe that thing it works. We forget the vision of where we're going, and that belief isn't strong enough to pull us through. We need a big bag of whys to pull us through the hard stuff. Big bag of whys. All right, guys. So I'm going to write out your 20-year vision, follow those, write out your 10-year vision story. I use a story format, and then pick a theme for your year ahead. Set those most important goals for the year, like these here. Bam, especially that one, guys, a 10-carat. Can't pump to see you guys there. And then finally, you're going to preload your year. You're going to preload your year, okay? And you're going to say, okay, I'm going to do my sprint triathlon here. I'm going to do my sprint triathlon here. Matt, you're going to go up in mountains. Mountains here. You're going to go mountains here. And you're going to go mountains here or whatever, right? Preload those bad boys, okay? And then what else are you going to do? I'm going to go to Carrot Camp in May. Okay, whatever else is going to happen. Going to go on family trip here, right? Whatever it is, okay? And so these are the buckets I like to think about. So come down here and write down those buckets. What do I want to learn this year? What are my planning days? So you need to schedule in your schedule your days to plan. Every quarter, you should have a few hours or half a day to plan the next quarter personally and professionally. Get those in your calendar today. Like put them in your calendar now so you don't miss those, okay? What are the birthdays so you don't miss them? What are the family events so you don't miss them? On the birthdays, try to schedule those days off. If it's your kids' birthdays, take the day off. If it's your wife's birthday, take the day off, okay? Like schedule those ahead of time so there's no guilt. This right here, Masogi, I think it's called, is a Japanese term for basically, I'm going to oversimplify it, but it's basically doing something that is insanely hard, that is a life-defining challenge for you. Okay, I learned this originally from an article about a decade ago, but I saw a guy named Jesse Itzler does this as well. And Masogi is do something that's so hard that's going to define your life in that year. Okay, it could be for me the sprint triathlon is that for me right now. Okay, so that is my Masogi. It could be a 2-week backpacking trip with just you and another person. Okay, up in the wilderness. It could be Tony Robbins event, a week-long Tony Robbins event, whatever it is, something that's big and challenging. It's that doesn't count. It's got to be something that's a big enough challenge to where you think there's a 50% chance of failure. Okay. It's got to be a big enough challenge where you have a 50% chance of failure on it. 50% chance of failure. Okay. The reason we want to pick it that big is because we want to force ourselves to grow, to push past the limits that we currently have. So for me, I literally am still nervous about 700 meters, and I've never swam in open water before, ever. Okay, the bike and the run I can get, but this right here, it's not 100% guaranteed chance there. Okay, 2-week backpacking trip solo. If you have not really done a lot of backpacking trips and that's something you want to do, there's a chance of failure, a chance that you may give up, and it forces you to get strong on it. Okay, 75 hard, maybe that for you this year. Okay, there might be a 50% chance you might not make it, which means you have to be more disciplined to do that. Pick something there, guys. All right. So guys, spend a few hours going through this worksheet, preload that year, and then go to your calendar and start to actually add the things to the calendar. do you guys, yeah, I mean, Matt, that's a great question, man. It really depends. So we're going to go over to the business side now. And I know I'm running a little bit behind, but I want to ask you guys this question because there's hundreds of you guys on here still. Number one, is this resonating with you guys right now? Is this resonating with you guys right now? Are you guys getting some mindset shifts? Does this personal planning document make sense? Is it something that you guys can commit to using this personal planning document over the next few days to get more clarity for your year ahead? Pop it in the comments box if this has been helpful in the personal planning side of things. And if so, we're right at the 2 hours. So I talked a little more than had planned, but it's the epic planning call. So this call is going to be epic. Are you guys cool if we go for another 20 to 25 minutes for me to now dive into the business side of it? I'm going to break down the business side really quickly and simply. Okay. Awesome. Amazing, guys. Lots of good stuff in here. Cool. Awesome. So we're going to go for another 20 to 30 minutes, guys. And I'll be on here as long as you guys need me to be. And so let me share the slides again now, and we're going to dive back in over there. And guys, let me know as I'm pulling up the slides, let me know what your biggest takeaway has been so far. Okay. Let me know what your biggest takeaway has been so far. And we're going to bring this puppy home on the business side. We always have to start our planning on the personal side. Okay. We've always got to start our planning on the personal side. If we don't plan on the personal side, our business starts to own us. Our business should support and fuel our lives, our passions, and our impact. We should not be fueling the business, okay? And the way that we end up fueling our business is we don't get clarity on our personal goals and how that business should serve as a tool to be work that you enjoy and to help you reach the goals. And so when you find yourself grinding in your business, it's usually because you're not clear on the personal side. And you end up chasing bigger and bigger goals because you're not clear how big that business should be or how much time you should be working on it to hit your personal goals. Okay, awesome. Yep, right here, guys. Casey says, you don't decide your future, you decide your habits decide your future. I love it. This right here, Wendy says, get more people on my team or processes ASAP. Yeah, you've got to. Otherwise, you're going to hit a bottleneck and you're not going to be able to get it down in there further. Mr. D's, fantastic information. This is what I appreciate about you and Carrot, providing lots of value even outside of just websites. I love it. All right, guys. So let's bring this puppy home on the business side. Okay. So as you dial in the personal side and get crazy excited about it, like I want your vision stories to be the most exciting story that you read this year. Okay, I want your vision story to excite you so much to where you even look at it and go, man, I don't even know if that's possible. Like when you write down your 20-year or 10-year vision story, you should literally have spots on there where you go, I don't know if this is possible, but I'm going to write it anyway. I have no clue how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to write it anyway. You don't have to know the how. You just have to write the what and the why. Okay, you don't have to know the how. Okay, the universe takes care of it somehow. But once we nail that, then it becomes, well, how the heck do we actually get there this next year, right? And so that's what we're laying out. We're going to be stepping into now the next 12 months or so of your time. And this is where it gets tricky because there's so many options, so many things that we can do to be able to reach our goal. How do we stay focused? And so if you look at this little graphic here, we only have so much energy. Okay, we only have so much energy, so much time. And what happens with a lot of us, and I've done this many times over the years, is you end up splitting your focus and energy into 5, 6, 7 different things. That could be 5, 6, 7 different marketing activities, 3, 4, 5 different businesses, 18 different projects. And oftentimes it's because we don't fully understand the metrics behind the things we're doing. Oftentimes it's because we don't fully understand how that thing could actually help us reach the goal or not. And so we have to say no more often, right? And so what we want to really aim closer towards is the length of all of these little lines combined is the same length of this one line together. And what this illustrates is oftentimes we do so many things that have just get a little bit of our focus and energy. It starts, then it dies. And we're in this perpetual cycle that we can never get out of. And we're always frustrated, can never get momentum. The way to get out of it is to put the energy and focus into one big thing. Get amazing at one business before you start a second one, then hire someone to run that one. Okay. Get amazing at one marketing method first before you do 7 of them. Okay. Get amazing at one niche in real estate before you branch out and do 7. Get amazing at one exit strategy first before you add on the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Okay. And we always want to look at that and ask, are we this person or are we more this person? Okay. So this is my personal planning framework. It all starts with the vision and the values. It's the base of everything. It's like, why does the business exist? Where are we going? And then next, it's more up on the strategic sides of things. That's where you might have a theme and it kind of lays out the strategy of how you're going to get there the next year or so. Okay. And then we set what we call objectives or goals. And that's like, what do we need to do this quarter, right? That's what do we need to do this quarter to hit our goals? And then we break it down and say, awesome. So this quarter is happening. So the first quarter is coming up. What are the projects? Like, what are the projects we need to do? We need to launch a Carrot site. We need to launch a PPC campaign. We need to get more reviews. We need to, learn how to negotiate better. We need to put in a follow-up sequence, whatever it is, right? What are those projects that need to happen that quarter? And then at the very tippy top is the results. Is what we're doing working? And we need to review those on a weekly and monthly basis. Is what we're doing working to deliver the result that we're looking for? And there's a model that I ran across, guys, reading a book. I read a bunch of books this year. At the end of the slide presentation, you guys can see a list of the 4 or 5 top books for me for 2021, and also some of my most favorite inspirational videos at the end of the slide deck that you guys can look at. But we're going to use this model called the GROW model. Okay, the GROW model is really simple. I just learned it a couple months ago. I've been working with my team members on it a good bit lately, and it's probably going to be something that's going to live on here at Carrot for a long time. And basically, the G stands for goal. Like, what do you want to achieve with that thing? Okay, R is reality. What's our current reality? Like, where are we right now in that thing? Okay, so if you want to earn $500,000 this next year, we need to put that down as a goal. And then we say, well, where are we right now? Well, I'm at $100,000 right now. Okay, put that down. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And then we say, that's our goal. Here's where we are now. And we can figure out the delta. What's the difference? In that example, it's a $400,000 difference in income that you need to somehow make up. And now we need to say, well, what are our options? Like, what are the options in order to do that? And that's where we brainstorm. I'm going to show you guys a couple things you can do today to brainstorm that. And then you whittle those options down to your best chances that are going to help you stay focused. And then you commit to doing certain things. What will you do? Okay, which choices will you make to stay focused? Okay. And so, like I said, before you plan for the year, you've got to have that clear vision for the business as well. I'm gonna spend a little bit of time on this, not much, but it is very, very important. Just like we focus on the vision side of our personal life, we need to focus on the vision side of business big time too. Like, what business do you want to build? What does it look like? How does it operate? What are the core values of that business? And I create something called non-negotiables. And for me, the non-negotiables were transformational back in 2012 when I created these non-negotiables right here. I had several businesses before that I wasn't passionate about, that weren't serving me. And honestly, I was even looking at getting a job back then. And I'd made some good money. I was making the low to mid six figures a year as a 20-something-year-old guy. And I'm sitting here going, man, is this all that there is in this entrepreneurial dream? If so, I don't know that I want it. I might just want to go get a job and punch a time clock. And I pulled back and I said, well, let me try to picture other people that seem to be living the life as an entrepreneur that I want to live. Okay, that's that personal vision once again, right? So before I can even get to business vision, I had to say, are there people out there that seem to be living the life as an entrepreneur that I want? And there were. Richard Branson was a great example. And there's several others, people that I actually knew too. And I started to say, okay, what is common about many of those people? And what are the things that did not work in my previous businesses that I want to make sure to avoid in the future? And one of the best ways to find what you do want is to write down what you don't want and then do the opposite of that. Okay, so my previous businesses, I was scattered. I had 3, 4, 5 businesses. I'm like, I just want to focus on one thing. If I could just focus on one darn thing, it'd be pretty relieving. And then we'll grow that from there. So non-negotiable, singular focus on one big thing. Okay, and then next right here, have fun and have a big mission. I believe in at my core. Okay, have fun and have a big mission. I believe at my core. We were doing work to make money. We had a good product, but I just didn't believe in the mission at my core. Today with Carrot, guys, the reason I'm doing this call, and I'll be on here for 8 hours if you guys want me to, is because I so believe in the impact that entrepreneurs can make in communities and in this world, that I want more of you to build businesses that free you, not trap you, and more of you guys and gals to build businesses that create impact, not just income. Okay, that's my mission. That's why I keep showing up to do work. I want to have a consistent and predictable income. I don't want to have the stress every month of going like, where's my money going to come from in 90 days? I got to keep on the hamster wheel. No, I wanted consistency and predictability. I wanted to build a long-term and valuable asset. What if something happened to me? What would happen with my family if when I passed away, my income was gone? Okay, what if eventually I did want to say, you know what, we built this amazing thing. We had an amazing run. I'm really ready to shift to the next purpose in passion of my life. I want to be able to sell that asset to someone who can take it and grow it even better. Okay. And then number 5, live on purpose and work in my unique abilities more than working on things that drain my energy. I want you guys to really think about your non-negotiables. Dylan says, I'm down to hang here for 8 hours and learn. I love it, man. So guys, I want to challenge you guys as you go through this slide deck after this presentation, try to think about your non-negotiables. Like, what must your business say is true? And the way that I treat my non-negotiables, if at any time my business does not match these non-negotiables going into that year ahead, I have to change it. These have to be top priority. I have to change it. As I look at my next year, I'm looking at my non-negotiables again. I'm like, all right, singular focus on a big thing. Yep, big mission, love it. Consistent, predictable, it is. But we want to kind of crank up the growth again. Build long-term valuable asset, yes, but I need to protect. I need to go into protecting the asset that we built now, right? And then number 5, live on purpose in my unique abilities. I think this is the one I want to work on the most in 2022. In this difficult year that we had this year, I found myself going into a lot of things that drained my energy more than in previous years, because we crossed over that $10 million mark. Things broke, right? And so we have to say, do we have the right people on the team? Do we have the right processes? Do we have the right vision, the right strategy, right? Am I serving my team well? Am I being the right coach? So the biggest thing for me in this year ahead is, how do I make sure that myself and those around me are in their unique abilities as much as possible, so we can make the greatest impact on you guys, and not having me and the genius of others trapped behind things that drain your energy, right? So write down your non-negotiables. And I encourage everybody to buy this book. Okay. This book, Vivid Vision by Cameron Herold. Go through his process in this first 90 days of the year and create your vivid vision. Okay. We created our vivid vision, and we can link it up to you guys if you want to, or we can show you a little bit of it. But it ended up just being this little tiny slide deck. Okay. And then I'm going to give you guys this template too. Okay. So on the slide deck, we're going to give you guys this template so you can literally take this template and you can start to update it. So I'm just going to go out of that right there. Let me get rid of this. So you guys can take this, put your logo in here, right here. Okay. Put your logo in there. And then, actually we link to it right here. So we're going to link to it inside of here. You guys can grab this template and just update it with your logo, update it with your information for your 3-year vision, make a 3-year vision. Okay. And so put in your vision, like how are you wanting to impact the world? What are your core values? These are some of our core values. What are your big 3-year goals? It could be a revenue goal. It could be a team goal. It could be a profit goal. It could be a number of sellers helped goal, whatever it is. And then ask yourself, well, on the way to that 3-year, to the 3-year goals, what are the big 3 things that I've got to change, right? What are those 3 strategies that must be true in order for us to hit those? And you might say, man, I've got to get amazing at online marketing. We've got to go all in on online marketing and scale up that evergreen. Or you might say, strategy number 2 is grow my team, hire an executive, hire an operator, hire whatever, hire an executive assistant. Strategy number 3 could be expand into second market. Okay, whatever it is. So really think about these and look at your goals and say, what is our strategy going to be to get there? Okay, and then you can kind of put some of your other core metrics down here. What's my average profit per deal going to be? What's my average cost per deal, revenue metric, whatever you want to put in here. But take this document, fill it out over the next 30 days, put it up on your wall, print it off, put it up on your wall. If you have a team, get it in front of them, print it off and mail it to them. Okay. But creating that vision is going to be really, really, really important for the business, because without the vision, we end up just being on this continual treadmill of goals. We end up being on this continual treadmill of every year reinventing the wheel and asking, what should we do this year? But unless you're building towards a specific vision, specific goals 3 years out, I like a 3-year business vision. Any further out than that on the 3-year side of things, or on the business side of things, guys, is fantasy for the most part. 3 years is decently tangible. You can get a lot done in 3 years. So guys, use this vision template, right? So now we're going to focus specifically on 2022. Once you've nailed that, and you guys might already have some of that, we're going to use that grow model, and we're going to start to set your goals. And this might be kind of what yours looks like. Okay. You might set your goal for profit. Maybe profit is your primary goal. And then you want to put what's your current reality. Let's say $150,000 profit. And then we do here at Carrot, we do what we call good, better, best. Okay. We do good, better, best targets here at Carrot. Best is like 50-50 coin flip. If we hit a grand slam, man, that's like that's it. But we always map our goals and our plan to best. Okay. It's like the aim for the stars, hit the moon thing. You want to map your plan to your best target, and then hope that you hit like your better target, or between good and better, between better and best. If you hit your best, celebrate, give your team incentives, things like that. Okay. The good number is, if we're going to do anything, put any extra energy and money into this business, what do we have to hit, right? And so then put in whatever other targets you want to put in there. You could have a year-over-year growth percentage if you want. Put some other metric in there. What are your monthly lead numbers? Basically, what are the important metrics that you have to look at this year? They're going to feed up to your primary metric. Okay. So write down those. And we're giving you guys on the Epic Planning Call deal here, there is a kind of a 1-page strategic plan that you guys can use if you want to. It's a very, very simple document. Okay. And you can put in the values, you can put in the market, you can do that kind of stuff. You can put in those goals here. So you guys can use this document if you want to use this document, or use something else, but we're just kind of equipping you with something. Okay. So these will be your annual goals. Just put them in a start value, current value, where are we going with the goal? All right. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to create our options. And I'm going to go back to iPad time right now. Okay. So once you set your goals, this is kind of what I like to do. This is what I like to do, guys and gals, when I'm starting to then go, okay, I've got my goals. Now what do I need to do next? Okay. We're just going to start a new document here. So let's say we've got our goals here. Okay. Okay. Let's say we've got our goals in reality right there. And draw this up here. We've got our goals, got our reality. Let's just say it's metric 1, metric 2, metric 3, right? So something like this, okay? So if we've got our goal with metric 1, let's say it's 100. Let's say its reality here is 80. Let's say goal here is 50 and current reality is 20, whatever these are, right? Just for illustrations purposes. And let's say that this one is, our goal is 300 and reality is 200 or whatever, okay? So then what I like to do here then is, what's the delta? What's the difference between our goal and our reality, okay? So here it's 20. So we need to increase it by 20. Here, we need to increase it by 30 throughout the year. And then here, we need to increase whatever this number is by 100, okay? So that's really what we're planning for. Like, yeah, we're planning to hit the 100, but we're already at an 80 with our current lead flow or current processes, whatever it is. And so what we're trying to do is, how do we keep this stuff that's already currently happening locked in and happening still? Then how do we add an extra 20 leads or an extra 20 deals or extra 20,000 or whatever that number is, okay? So then we go in here to the options. So what are our options to hit this? And I like to usually do something called the 1-3-1 principle. Okay, the 1-3-1 principle is, number one, identify the one challenge or opportunity. The one challenge or opportunity is already identified. It's, we want to move this number from this to this, okay? So that's our challenge or opportunity. The 3 is go do the research and come up with your 3 best ideas to move that number, okay? So you're going to have 1 idea, 2 ideas, 3 ideas, okay? And then down here is the 1 at the end of it is the W, right? It's what will we do, okay? Now, you don't have to just do one thing. Maybe it might take 2 or 3 of these things to move it, right? But we want to challenge ourselves to have higher leverage activities, as few things as possible to reach the goal, so you're less busy with better impact, right? And so we have our goal, we have our reality, we know our delta, and then we say, what are the 3 best ideas to reach that delta and hit the goal? There's idea A, B, and C. And then what I like to do here is say, like, what's my confidence level with each of these ideas that I'll hit it? Let's say this is 100% confidence level, okay? But I'm only going to get halfway there. Let's say this one will only get me 10 units to there. So I'm 100% confident that we can hit the 10, but it's only going to get us to 10, okay? Let's say B now can get us 30 extra units. So it's going to outpace our goal, but I'm only 50% confident on that, okay? And now let's say that C can get us to 25% of the goal. C can get us 25 units of whatever, but I'm 80% confident. I use 50, 80, 100% confidence intervals. And when we look at this is a big mistake that a lot of us make when we're setting our goals and our projects, is we'll lay out some things, but we're not really sure our confidence level on it. So we end up doing a project that has a 50% confidence level, and we only plan one project, and we end up, hitting, let's say we have a 50% confidence level of hitting this, and we only get to 10, but we didn't plan any other projects. We're still 10 short now, right? And so I like to kind of balance it. I like to go, well, I'm 100% confident we can get these 10. And over here, I'm 80% confident this can get us to 20. This one here is going to be a bigger lift, but it's also going to take us more time and effort. I'm going to do these 2. Okay. Or you might say, you know what? I'm going to run this one by somebody else. I'm going to run this one by somebody else to see if I can get this to be a higher impact item. Can I get this to be a 20 impact versus the 10 at 100% confidence? Or can I take this one and let me talk to somebody else that has a different skill set? Talk to a Carrot team member, a Carrot coach, a person in a mastermind, whatever it is. Can I talk to them and see if they have any ideas to get this up to 100%? If they have an idea to get this 100% confidence, man, we might just do that one then, right? But if after talking with those other people, the numbers stay the same, go, cool, I'm going to do these 2. All right, so we're going to do option A and we're going to do option C, and now we need to plan those projects, right? So that's how I do planning, guys. So you set your goal for those metrics. They're going to help you get the year. You write down your reality, okay? You figure out the delta, so how much is the difference that we need to move there? And then we say, what are our best 3 options to get there? You give yourself a confidence level based on what you know, 100% confidence, 80%, or 25% or 50%. Okay. And then you ask yourself, well, how are we going to get there? What's the best mix of things to get there? And you might then go talk to other people to either raise the impact of a project or raise the confidence level of the project. And then you make a decision. Cool. We're doing these things. Awesome. And then what you do next is you ask when you're going to do them. Okay, so I'm going to stop the screen share here, bounce back to presentation. And I know I simplified that, guys, but you can literally do the whole planning process just like I did on your iPad. You can do it in an hour or 2 if you really want to. Okay, and it should end with something like this. It could end with something like this. Matt, I'd love to help you with this, man. It says never get solid action steps, dude. I'll help you with that for sure. Okay. But this is the W. Once you go through and list out those projects and you start to get some good ideas from it and a confidence level, then you take those and say, well, now when are they going to happen? Okay, when are those things going to happen? And you might have something go like this. I'm going to bounce out of presentation mode here. You might have something go like this. Go, well, right here. So our critical goal for the year is we want to move towards $500,000 profit. Right now we're 100K profit. And so we think that we're going to get there by doing 100K profit in the first quarter, 125, then 150. Okay. So we're kind of staggering that revenue growth up throughout the year. Okay. And then we have to ask ourselves, well, how, if we're at 100 profit for the year right now, that means we're probably about 25K for the quarter. How are we going to bridge that gap now? Well, key initiative number one is whatever it is, right? Let's say it's launch PPC. Okay. And let's say improvement now is negotiation, improve close ratio from X to Y. Okay. And then improvement number two is hire X person. So that might be acquisitions. It might be whatever it is, right? Hire an assistant, could be whatever it is. So you want to look at this and say, okay, do these primary big things, you might do more projects than just these, right? You might have 7 different projects for the quarter, but you want to ask yourself, what are the things that if I only get these done, these things would be enough? If I only got these things done, I'd be insanely pumped. Okay. And if I get anything extra done, it's all bonus. What happens is we lay out these things that are high impact, but then we get distracted by a lot of low impact busy work that we get to the end of the quarter and go, oh man, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. We did that one, but we didn't do the top 2 most important things, and we did other less important things in their way. This should give us that focus. And then do the same thing for Q3, Q4, Q2. And it's okay, guys. Like if you get to Q3 and Q4 and you're like, I don't know, I have one thing here. I have a thing here and I have a thing here, but I don't really have anything else. Cool. No biggie. Just put, leave them blank. Okay. And then as you get further throughout the year, you're going to get more clarity. Then you can fill them out. All right, guys. But this is basically what we do. And then, like I said, as soon as you have your macro planner, you can print this thing off. You can share it with your team. Then it goes into, now we're going to actually plan the projects. Right. And so you could use a spreadsheet like this, where this is literally just editable. I can just click this and go, PPC campaign launch, whatever it is, right? Who owns it? Well, if you're the only one in the company, then you own it. But if you have someone else, well, who owns it? And then when am I going to do it? Well, I'm going to do it the 3rd week of January through this. So I can just move these little bubbles around, right? So if you end up looking at it going, man, this is way too many projects, like kill all the projects, but the ones you can handle with the bandwidth you've got, and then make sure that these bubbles aren't all lined up at the same time. So you might say, well, we're going to start this project here. And then when that's done, then we're going to start this project. And we can handle these 3 things at once with the bandwidth we've got, since it's different people. And then when those are done, then we're going to start this other project. So it's kind of a visual way that I like to lay it out. Okay. It's kind of a visual way that I like to lay it out. And then I don't care how you actually manage your projects. We don't manage our projects inside of this. This is more just for kind of planning purposes. We manage our projects in another tool. But guys, that's it. Okay. And I know I went through it quick, but you set your goals, your primary metrics. You say what your current number is, set a good, a better, and a best target. Your good target you should have a 100%, you should have 100% confidence. Okay. That you're going to hit your good target. Your better target, I want to see 80% confidence you're going to hit your better target. Your best target should be really ambitious. Okay. Treat yourself if you hit it. Treat your team if you hit it. Okay. You should give yourself a 50-50 coin flip at least to hit that target. So it should be ambitious. Okay. Make your primary targets here. Go through that process. Like I walked through the 1-3-1 principle. Go out there and find the 3 things that are going to move each one of your metrics. Decide on the 1 or 2 that are going to help you get there. Okay. Then move them into something like this. Move them into a macro planner, or at least some of them into a macro planner. They don't have to put them all in there, the ones that are most important. And then start to plan out that first quarter. Okay, so this is your Q1. This is your Q1 right here. You plan it out, and then you can have this in front of you, and you look at it and go, cool, how are we doing the project? And then from there, it's just communication, y'all. From there, it's just communication. So literally, once you have your annual plan done, and you set that quarterly plan for those important projects, every week now, every week, I want you to have a meeting with your team or just with yourself where you're reviewing, how am I doing on these projects? And I do like a red, yellow, green. Okay. I do a red, yellow, green. Just go, hey, it's a red if it's off track, it's not going to hit the due date. Yellow if it's man, there's something blocking it, we need to get solved. Or if it's a green, it's like, awesome, it's on track. Okay. And if you have a team member, have them report the red, yellow, greens and the projects that they're running. And so that's how you then lead them. You have them come in with you for a meeting and they report to you how their projects that they committed to are going. If it's a red, you jump on it immediately and help unblock it. Yellow, jump on it immediately, help unblock it. Green, you go, cool. If anything goes off track, let me know. That's your weekly cadence with them. Okay. Monthly, you want to look at your scorecard and you want to look at those objectives and say, how did we do this month on these projects, right? How do we do this month on these projects? And how are we doing this month on moving towards our goals? Okay. And then quarterly, as you head into the next quarter, then you're just going to do this again. You're going to look at your macro planner and you're going to say, cool, how did we do in these? Shoot, we did launch this one. So I'm going to mark that a green, right? This one here, we kind of got a good bit of it done, but not a lot. I'm going to mark it a yellow. I think we should move that one into the next quarter again because it's a big lever for us. So we're going to move this one over here into actually finish it. But how do I learn from that moving forward next time? Did I get distracted by the things? Do I need to hire someone for help? Do I need to learn a new skill set? How do I make it so these don't move to the next quarter perpetually? Okay. And then let's say that we didn't nail this one at all. Okay. And you go, man, I got one of them. That's good. That's building momentum, but I really need to figure out what I need to change habit-wise, discipline-wise, calendar-wise to make sure these don't happen again. And you could move them over if you want, or you can put new things in. Okay. So as you hit the new quarter, fill out your macro planner, go back in here, take your projects, fill out your projects, scope them out, and then get to work. All right, guys. Cool. Well, guys, I'm going to give a quick recap here and I'm going to take some Q&A. But in recap, guys, I want you guys to focus on buying back your time this year. Okay. The time is the thing that we cannot get more of. We cannot get more time. We can use our time better. We can leverage our time better. Okay. We cannot get more of it though. And leverage the money that you're earning to buy it back rather than having it sit in the bank or rather than you buying the next fancy car and being stressed. How about not getting the car, getting an employee or creating a process so you're less stressed and then you can enjoy the fancy car later, right? So buy back your time. Next thing that we kind of talked about, don't fall into the if I hit this goal, then I'll blah, blah, blah trap, right? The work is the reward, guys. Thinking longer time horizons, get clarity on your personal life vision and business vision 3 or more years out. Create gaps, right? You have to have a vision to create a gap, but we also need to be looking backwards and having gratitude for the gain that we've had, okay? And then create those magical moments more often, guys, right? So on here, we do have, like I said, an offer for everybody on here, whether you're a Carrot customer or not, right? So the first thing is if you're not a Carrot customer and you want to join Carrot, you want to join our ecosystem, you've been looking at it and you're like, oh man, I see the results other people are getting. We're going to be stepping up our game big time in 2022 on our content, on our product, on the way we serve you guys and gals. We're insanely excited about the year. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a challenge, right? But challenges are where we grow. And so just pop in over here and click one of these and then choose, are you an investor or an agent? Okay. And then if you're already a member, you can do an upgrade offer if you're not already an advanced marketer member. So if you're already an advanced marketer member, you're getting a ton of benefits and bonuses. We're going to be unlocking even more things for you this year ahead. We have some new features coming out as well. If you're not an advanced marketer, this is a chance to upgrade before the end of the year and get access to the benefits, bonuses, everything that advanced marketers get, the software, the one-on-one onboarding calls, the strategy sessions with our team, and a bunch of other things that are coming out. Okay, so it's only $199 today if you're not a member. That's going to get you access to 2 months of the advanced marketer plan. That's normally $199 a month, so it's an immediate $199 savings right there. You're going to get access to our 30-day challenge, okay? And you're also going to get access to some other really, really cool trainings, all right? If you're already a member, and you're not an advanced marketer member yet, you can go through this tab here and you can do the upgrade. So you're going to pay the same $198 today. We're going to upgrade you to the advanced marketer plan and we're going to unlock these benefits and bonuses as well. All right, guys. So this is open till the end of the year, midnight, the end of the year. At midnight, it's going away because it's a massive discount. We're going to be hitting the ground running with y'all in 2022. All right, guys. So I'm going to open up for some Q&A right now, or even if it's just making comments or something, guys, let me know. Eric, what's up, dude? Eric says, I can't believe it's been a year already. I was on the same call last year, but it seemed like it was yesterday. Yeah, Eric, I want to ask you this question, man. So what has changed since the last call for the better? Okay, let's start there. Let's start with the gain. So Eric, what has changed since this last call for the better? Okay, for the better. Let me know how you've grown this past year. Were there any big goals that you hit? And then next, Eric, let me know what are some of the big goals that you're kind of casting out there, you're thinking about for the year ahead, dude. I'd love to hear it. Central Minnesota Homes. What's up, Paula? Awesome. Good to see you, Paula. Paula says, I've been missing setting options and why. Just wanting something to happen doesn't make it. So exactly, Paula, we have to go back to, and I'm going to give away the canvas here in a second, guys. We have to go back to and say, I've got goals. What's our current reality? But then we have to say, what are the options to reach that metric? And the only way that we can do it is to first identify the metrics that are important to move, right? Like if you're a real estate agent, you're probably going to be looking at your gross commission for the year. Like if you made $300,000 this year, set your goal for the next year, but have a why behind it. Why is it important that that number is true? Because if that number just means more stress for you, but it doesn't unlock freedom and impact, then you might not need to grow it. Just be content with where things are, right? But if that number is going to help you hire another amazing person that's going to buy back your time, or that number is going to help you get to that next level where you can make greater impact, or reach towards that financial freedom greater, be really clear why that number matters. Okay. And then walk it back and say, if I'm going to hit this $500,000 gross commission this year, and I'm doing $300K this year, that's a $200,000 delta. What are the metrics I should track that will help me to do that? Well, it might be leads. It might be a number of seller presentations. It might be your close rate on your seller presentations. It might be your average commission per transaction. Maybe your average commission per transaction right now is $7K, and maybe you can get up to $12K by going up market to higher priced homes, or by negotiating and make sure you get your full 3% or doing both sides more. Or even better, if you're an agent, you can actually grow your income dramatically by adding on hybrid to your business in 2022, okay? By not just looking at everything like a listing, but you can look at it and go, well, some of the 80% are gonna be listings, 20% are gonna want a cash offer. If you land 2, 3, 4 of those deals a year, that could dramatically change your income. We have so many agents who have stepped into hybrid as their primary model because it's easier and more profitable. You serve your client better. The main thing is beliefs. You got to get over those beliefs, because a lot of people have a belief that there's more risk. Okay, guys, the main thing is there's just a skill set that needs to be gotten. A skill set, the same skill set that had to be gotten in order to go from not being an agent to being an agent. Okay, you have to study and research on how to craft deals, how to make offers, find and partner with local investors who can close those deals, or you do it yourself. Guys, hybrid is a massive opportunity for everybody. Okay, awesome, Paula. Thank you. Amazing. Travis, dude, what's up? Travis joined Advanced Marketing. He joined Authority Leader, our around that $1,000 a month plan. Website looks awesome, growing our brand. He's growing the brand, has the one-on-one coach. Travis, dude, I'm going to be hitting you up because we're going to be doing some amazing things in 2022 with Authority Leader that I'm excited about. Like, there's gonna be some really cool stuff that we're gonna be cooking up in Q1, and we're gonna be reaching out to you guys to see how we can make your lives even better and more profitable. What's up, Andy? I love it. Andy says, Trevor, love your passion and energy. You know what, Andy? I want to take you back to this slide right here. Okay. Right here. This right here. You're allowed to get up one day and just decide to change who you are, dress differently, speak up more, laugh louder, speak freely, say hey to new people, get that confidence going. We don't have to stay the way people see us. I want to tell you guys a quick story before we leave, okay? And I'll answer questions. So I was born with a skeletal syndrome. My brother and my dad are both 6 foot tall, or both my brothers and my dad are 6 foot tall. I'm 5'6". I'm not a tall dude. It affected my skeletal side of things and my teeth, and so I didn't lose my first tooth probably until 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And then over the course of years, part of what happens is a bunch of extra teeth come in to your gums, and some of them come in where they're not supposed to. I had 32 teeth pulled between 12 years old and 14 years old. Okay. The crazy thing is most of them weren't even cracking through. They were just these extra bone fragments that were up in there. Some of them were. So from 12 years old to about 16, I didn't have several of my front teeth. Now, if you guys can imagine, how would that be as a 12 to 16 year old being in junior high and high school without some of your front teeth, right? I had a long-term mindset. I chose early on. I said, I know I can get through this. I know this is just a phase in my life that will be in the scheme of things, a blink of an eye. And I have seen examples of other people with the same syndrome that once they're through this phase, and they get into a late high school, early college, that the teeth start to get in, you put in a couple of fake teeth and you're good to go, right? And so I had to adopt this long-term mindset. And I said, how do I make sure that I'm growing as an individual as much as I can, but also really looking forward to like my 20s and 30s and things like that. Okay. But I was a quiet guy. I was a really, really quiet guy, Andy. And after I got out of college and my braces were gone and they had gotten the teeth all taken care of and everything, I had to make that decision. I think I was probably early to mid 20s. And I'm like, you know what? I truly want to make an impact in this world, and I can't do it unless I start to change the person that I am and speak out more. I truly want to make a greater impact. Awesome, dude. Let's do it. I truly want to make a greater impact. And I literally woke up one day and said, I am going to get out of this insecurity of speaking publicly, and I'm just going to start doing it. My first podcast, my first video were all terrible. You can literally find the first video of me ever online. I think it was 2008 or 2010. And oh my gosh, completely different than how I'm showing up now, because I made the choice, Andy. I said, I have the permission to change the way that I am showing up in life and getting rid of those insecurities to show up in full force. So you can do that too. Find the things holding you back, and you have the same passion and energy in you too. Be a lighthouse, Andy. I love it. Matt says, my main goal is to raise more capital so I can perform more. Well, dude, so that's a great goal, but that goal is probably a supporting goal for something else. Why do you want to raise more capital? Right? Because you could raise a gazillion dollars in capital, but what if you raise a gazillion dollars in capital and it didn't lead to getting the actual goal that you want? So what is it that you want, Matt? Is it you're looking to acquire a certain amount of property so you can get X amount of cash of passive income? What is it? So that should be that critical number for you. Okay. That is a critical number, not the raising cash, not saying that that's what you're proposing, but your critical number would be profits or monthly cash flow or whatever it is. Okay. And then down here, it might be a supporting number might be private funds raised. Okay. And then do some math on it to say, well, in order to get this many deals, to get this cash flow, I'm going to have to come into deals with this much cash, and then set a good, better, best target on that. So that's something you'll track and make a goal around. You'll put something in down here as a project, right? But that's a supporting metric. Yep. Good stuff, man. Awesome. What's up, Robbie? Thank you for sharing all this. Great way to start the year. Heck yeah. And we're bringing a guest on right here, guys. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna answer a couple more questions. We're gonna bring Dylan in here. So Teresa says, does the 30-day challenge close after the 30-day period? The training, actually, you get the access to the training as long as you're a Carrot member. Yeah, so you get the access to training as long as you're a Carrot member. But what's up, man? Dylan, how you doing, man?
What's up, Trevor? I'm good, man. How are you?
Awesome, dude. I appreciate you engaging all the time on the live chat. It makes it, because you can't see people's faces. When you have hundreds of people on here, the engagement is a big deal. So I appreciate you for bringing that energy, man.
My pleasure, man. Absolutely. There's a lot to engage with. You're always showing a lot, and every call. This is actually completely different than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be very Carrot specific, but no, this is just general life, business overall. Like, let's plan 2022, and I loved it. Loved the surprise with it.
I like it, man. And that's my favorite thing, because we can dive in with you guys in 30-day challenges to do all the Carrot specific stuff. If you're an advanced marketer member, y'all, hop on with your coach. Get on the onboarding call, hop on with your coach quarterly. They'll help you dial in the plan that's specific for you, which is a cool thing. But dude, I want to toss it your way. Let's do the gain and the gap thing. So what are you most proud of for this year on what you gained or grew in?
Yeah, so this year I actually closed my first wholesale deal, and I
did congrats, man.
So that was like a huge thing for me. Appreciate that. And then my second one, I was able to find the end buyer directly. So that was like another huge goal for me, not having to split it 50-50 with anybody and get to take home all the bread. And with that, I was able to take the money, start my LLC, get Carrot going. So I was able to like feed my business even more to generate even more lucrative opportunities. And that was another really big goal for me. Actually, I filled it all out. So I'm gonna get my fourth and fifth one. I think my fourth one was that I've been able to like spend every day with my daughter. She's
Dude.
almost 2 years old, and
Yep.
it's just her and I, and that's it. So being able to make it through that in one piece has been really huge for me, because a lot of people are like, I don't know how you do it. It's
Yep.
like, well, you just keep going.
That's
And
exciting, man. So I love it, dude, and that's what it's about, right? Because I think it's really easy, especially if when we get in masterminds or look at other things, you see an income goal that someone else has or the income that they have, and it's really easy for us to then go, well, maybe I should have that too. But no, our business should be built specifically to help us reach our life goal and make the impact we want to make. And every dollar over and above what's required for that isn't needed, and it usually causes extra stress or extra time away from what's most important. And so that's where we need to get really clear in that life vision, guys. Because if you don't have that vision, you're going to always be looking at higher income goals as the thing that you think you need to do, and it leads to being in the gap all the time, big time. So, dude, next year, what are you most excited about, and or what are your one or two biggest goals for next year?
Definitely to hire a full-time cold caller, not just a part-time. I already have one employee who cleans data, and that frees up so much time for me and allows me to target better leads, which is really awesome. And so my next thing is that I want somebody to be calling while I'm with my daughter, so that it doesn't have to be me doing it during nap times and stuff like that, or when she's awake. And that's really important to me.
That's awesome, dude. I love it. So with the 6F, 7Fs exercise, you were mentioning fitness, right? Or was it fitness or fun?
It was, well, both actually.
Okay.
But fitness was my lowest one.
Okay.
For sure. It's something that I just recently started thinking, like, I really got to focus on this, because I am not where I used to be 2 years ago. And, I'm not getting any younger. Things aren't going more on my side as far as time goes. So I really got to grab that bull by the horns.
So what are you going to do before the end of the year? So you've got like a day and a half or 2 days.
Okay. So before the end of the year,
what's the very next step?
I've already ordered like a giant water purifier, and then like some jugs so I can carry around and drink water with me. Yesterday I went shopping and got a whole bunch of healthy food, and I'm going to be on YouTube learning how to like meal prep so that I don't have to spend as much time cooking during the week, so that's already kind of done for me, so I can take more action. And so those things are already kind of lined up, but the one that I haven't started yet is that I need to start actually like working out more. I gotta do it. I gotta do it.
So what do you enjoy most when you're working out? Like for me, once I'm in the workout, I enjoy it, right? It's getting to it for me. That's the hurdle. And when I'm in there, I like it. So for me, in order to get it going, we literally built a gym outside of my office. So I have to like walk through the gym to get to my office, and the coach is there in the morning. So that I had to take it to that extent, because once I'm there, I love it. But it's the getting there. What's the biggest struggle for you with the working out part? And what's the one thing you can do to guarantee yourself success in this first quarter?
Love it. So the biggest struggle for me is two things. Is one, I find working out with weights incredibly boring. I've tried it so many times in my life, and it's so boring. So before everything was shut down, I don't want to talk any disease in here. Before everything was shut down, I found that bouldering was really fun for me and an incredible source of working out. So I fell in love with rock climbing. I was going to the rock climbing gym 3 to 4 times a week, and then everything stopped. I had a baby, no time to really go do that anymore. But during that, I found calisthenics. And so I have rings, I have a pull-up bar, and I have everything that I need to do calisthenics. I just really got to set aside the time to do it. That's the most fun in the workout for me, that I enjoy the most, is the problem solving that you're having to do with it, rather than just lift. It's like, no, how am I going to solve the problem of getting from point A to point B? Because now I'm working out my mind while I'm working out my physical.
Dude, is there like a bouldering group in the area that exists that you can join? Or
there's only 2 gyms here in the city, and the groups aren't there's not really a group or anything.
Okay. Because the accountability part is the part that I want to challenge you on the most, is and that can help with the fun part, because then you're doing it with people, and the friends and relationships part too. Are there any people that you know personally who like doing that as well?
I've taken people to the gym back in the day, and they loved it, but it's kind of hard to get people to want to do that all the time. My accountability partner is going to be my daughter. She's almost 2. So when she's about 3, like, it's going to be much easier to take her and have her climb as well. So she's going to be my accountability partner.
Cool. I love that, man. And one thing I would challenge you on is, if there is anybody that's in a similar spot to you, and that's a belief thing, right? That it's hard to get them to the gym. They might be thinking, well, shoot, no one's reaching out to me. But if you were to reach out to them and say, hey, here's where I am, I'd love to get going again. Reach out to 2, 3, 4 people or whatever it is, and just see if it sparks something within anybody. The worst that they'll say is no.
Yeah.
Right. The best that they can say is, oh my gosh, amazing timing. Yes, I want to start it. And then what I'd challenge you to do is pick the first time to go out there and either do calisthenics or go bouldering. Like pick it, book it, get out on the schedule before the new year. Now you don't have to do it. You don't have to like actually go bouldering before the new year, but get it on the calendar for it. Because the sooner that you can get the momentum on that, the better. The further out you wait, the more it's something that it's okay mentally now you have a belief now that it's not important. It can wait. So get it. Completely. I love it, dude. Well, right here, man. So Wholesalers Toolbox says starting a meetup group would make you accountable, dude. And the cool thing is, if you're getting into real estate, if you start a group like that, it has nothing to do with real estate. That could be one of the best ways for you to start to build that network locally. True. And then they're asking like, hey, what the heck do you do? Well, I buy homes and I do X, Y, Z. And so if you guys come across any that are like this, let me know and we buy them and you can get a payment for them. Like that could actually help your business too. So dude, let me know what you end up doing there, dude.
Opportunity everywhere. I love that. Yep.
Dylan, in closing, man, what's your biggest takeaway from this call today? Outside of what we'd already talked about, is there a mindset shift, a quote you're like, I'm going to carry this with me this year?
Well, there's a quote that has always stuck with me for a long time, and it wasn't said here, but I'll share it. It's that knowing and not doing is not knowing at all.
Yep.
And this time last year, I was here filling out the same things, what I need to do, what have I, not done. And I see the growth, but I also see where I completely fell off with things.
Yep.
And so I could be one of the people that comes in like, oh, I know I need to do this and I know I need to do that. And it's like, well, I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
So I really need to do it and follow through all 365 days with exactly what you were showing with the Q1, Q2, looking at everything monthly, yearly, as far as how your plans are, and then making adjustments and figuring out which things line up and which things don't. Like everything that you showed today brought so much clarity, and it's something that I'm going to be putting into action.
Dude, the cadence, and guys, I want to slam this home for you guys, because the cadence that I had talked about, like you guys can go through. Here's a good example. Okay. There's a local nonprofit that my wife and I are a part of, and they're making their strategic planning. They're making their strategic plan because they really hadn't had one for a while, and they're hitting that the 10 and 3, right? Things are breaking and things are getting really hard for them. And so I worked with them to create their strategic plan using the same process. I took them through it. I just buzzed you guys through it really quick.
Love it.
And here's the thing. They already had a plan, dude. Like I asked them, said, hey, do you guys already have one? They gave me a 16-page strategic plan that they made 3 years ago and had a lot of really good stuff in it. And I said, this is really good. There's too much in it. I mean, there's like 45 number one priorities in here. So let's work on whittling them down. But I said, this is actually pretty good. What have you guys done with this? They said, we made the plan, but we never picked it up again. I'm like, okay, that's the problem. So you guys had a lot of good stuff in there. And it wasn't that they didn't know what to do. It's they didn't have the right cadence in their calendar to ensure that they did the right things. And so if you guys did nothing else, before the end of the year, it's going into your Google Calendar and preloading your year. Okay, taking that slide where I talk about your annual and your quarterly and your monthly and weekly and daily, is actually put those in your calendar to say, okay, annually, I'm going to put in my calendar right now my 2023 planning session, my 2023 planning day for December 28th or December 15th or whatever your date is. Put it in there and then put a basic agenda. Review my year, like do something, right? And then go, cool, my quarterlies. I'm going to preload my quarterly planning sessions right now. I'm going to block out a half a day, and I'm going to, that's my strategic time. So I'm not just getting all tactical. I'm going to block out a half a day to then pull up and look at my annual plan, look at my scorecard and my goals and metrics, see how I'm doing, and then make my plan for the next quarter. Use the macro planner, set out the projects, update your scorecards. Good. And then before the end of the year, also go in there and put a monthly checkpoint. It might be an hour or two, 90 minutes, where you go, cool, monthly before the next month starts. Look at how your metrics did the previous month, set your new metrics for the next month, and then decide what projects am I working on and schedule that time before the month starts. And then last is then put in your calendar a time weekly, even if you're just a one-person shop, a time weekly where it's an hour a week on a Monday or 30 minutes or whatever it is, to then review how you're doing on your projects, how you're doing on your metrics, and then look at your week's schedule and ask yourself, do I have the things in my schedule this week that are going to help ensure that we hit our monthly goals? If you guys just do that right now before the end of the year, it's going to magnify massively any goals that you, in any progress you guys have. Yep, for sure. Awesome. Dylan, any questions for me while you're on here, man?
No, man, you're a rock star. I really appreciate you, Trevor, and everything that you give. I love Carrot and the team that you have. Everybody that I've ever spoke with, this customer service has been super thorough. So that's a reflection of you and what you put together. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate it, buddy. Well, dude, have an amazing new year, and keep showing up on the calls to see your name on all of them. So appreciate you hopping on here, and good to connect with you finally.
God bless. Be safe.
All right, you too, man. See you. Awesome, guys. Well, guys, we're gonna close this out. There are a few questions in here. And we'll answer any questions right now. And then you're right here. So Andrew says, if we join Carrot, can we keep and use our websites and postcards? I'm not sure if I fully understand the question. So if you join Carrot, Carrot will be the website system. It's the most effective, the highest performing websites in the real estate investor space. And we're really penetrating the agent space really well for motivated sellers as well. And so you would actually, Carrot would become your website, especially for motivated house sellers. But for agents, tons of our agents are using it for retail buyers too. And then postcards. Yeah, any offline marketing that you're doing, you can do whatever the heck you want to do. Keep doing. If it's working for you, keep doing all that stuff. Okay. So yes, you would join Carrot. You get our tools and resources to help make your online marketing more effective through our website system. And you get access to our search engine optimization tools, our coaching calls. You get access to the multiple different website types that we have to track different types of leads, our support, the crazy fast loading websites, and everything that goes with our system. Yep, for sure. Awesome. Yep, right here, Matt. Matt, you engaged the heck out of things today too. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give away the canvas right now, and hopefully some people went through and did what I asked. So let's see what we've got in here for anybody tagging me onto anything. We've got a couple in here for sure. Awesome. We got more than a couple in here. Cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna randomly pick some out here. And we're going to give away this canvas. And I'll even, not that it's worth anything for you, but I'll even sign it. This one's the one in my office. And I see some other ones that we have across the way. I'll sign it. We'll send it your way here after the new year. Put it up in your office. We're going to give this canvas. And there's still time. If you guys have not followed me on Instagram, number one, Trevor.Mauch. So follow me on Instagram. And then tag me on a post, a picture from a presentation on your biggest takeaway from it. You still have about 10 seconds to do that right now if you want to do it. 30 seconds, let's say. Let's do 30 seconds. Let's answer one more question. Follow me on IG, okay? And then put a post up there or a story, and then tag me on what was your biggest takeaway from it. And we're going to answer Mr. Deed's question, then we'll go and pick the winner of the canvas from here. So how do I know who my coach is? I'm an advanced member. Awesome question. So we don't have assigned coaches. We have a team of amazing customer success reps, Carrot coaches. And the best thing you can do to Mr. Deeds is hit that live chat box down on the bottom right and talk with our team and say, hey, I'm an advanced marketer member. I would love to hop on for my onboarding call if you have not done an onboarding call with a coach. Or you can do quarterly strategy sessions with the team, with the coach. So hit up live chat and just ask them for what you're needing. If you've already done an onboarding call and it's been 3 months since your onboarding call, say, hey, I'd love to set up a strategy session with my coach. And they'll hook you up with one of our amazing people here at Carrot. Awesome, guys. So I'm going to pick someone for the deal. There's a bunch of them in here, actually. It's good. Good stuff. Bunch of followers, guys. Bunch of followers. I like it. Not a lot of people did the tag, which, I mean, a dozen or so. So it's going to be good odds, but bunches of followers. I love it. All right, guys. So right here, I'm going to randomly pick one. Tap on it. Where's my finger? My finger is right here. It's Jensen. Jensen says, the work right now might be hard, but that doesn't mean we can't enjoy the now. If you weren't watching Trevor from Get Carrot train on his yearly planning sessions this past year recap, you might have missed out on something special. I picked this one slide as a highlight for y'all, but really it meshes with everything taught. The work right now might be hard, but it doesn't mean we can't enjoy the now. Creating magical moments while going through trials and hard work keeps us grounded, thankful, joyful, and motivated to reach our ideal life while focusing on the current goals. Amazing. Congrats. I'm going to DM you right now, and we are going to get you out that canvas And then I think it was Mike or Matt. Yeah, it was Matt. Dude, if you get the darn camping trip booked, I'll Venmo you a couple $100 to cover for that and cover whatever else. You got the email address for my team. Jensen, congrats. I'm going to message you right now. JT Rose. What's up, JT? I didn't realize it was you. I love it, man. We're going to get you the canvas, man. You win. Shoot me your address, JT. All right, guys. We're going to wrap. Oh, Paula. Here she is. What's up, Paula?
Not much. Just Braden had asked if I would just share some of the things that I had pulled out. And this is, I can't remember if this is my third or fourth year with you doing this. I can't remember. But I always love going through the personal components of it. When I rate myself, I don't think I ever have fives. I don't necessarily have ones, but I don't have a lot of fives either. There's always something to work on. What I really liked about the planning this year is having those options, because I think, you know, when I'm setting the goals, I'm always setting those goals that maybe have that 50-50 shot.
Yep.
And so then when you don't get them, it's like, okay, now what? And so I like sitting down and taking a look at those options. I'll have to spend some time going through that. I think that was a big takeaway and win for me. So
that's a biggie. We're facing that here at Carrot too, because the marketing team can attest to it. There's so many options that you have, and oftentimes, Paula, what I've discovered over the years is by putting that confidence level on them, you now number one, you know the reality of, can you actually hit that number with the projects you have listed, and number two, you know what skill sets or ways you need to grow to hit that goal. And oftentimes it's outside of you. Oftentimes it's like, well, I don't know. I'm a 50% confidence level on all these things. I'm pretty sure this can happen and work. And these are my best bets. Who do I talk to that can help get it up to 80 or 100%?
Right.
And oftentimes it's somebody else. It could be someone here at Carrot. It could be me. It could be Carrot Coach. It could be a support person. It could be a video that we had. It could be another investor or another agent. It could be a team member. You know, here at Carrot, it could be another person from a different team or your boss or whatever it is. So that part's really important, because when we create plans, what is it? It's like, there's the whole quote of, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. We often end up creating plans, but our plan is actually structuring us to fail from the start, because we don't understand our chances of it.
Right.
And so that's awesome. Yeah, step into that. And what I like to do is, if you do have one that is a 50-50 coin flip, but it could be a big impact, I kind of treat those as tests. It's an experiment, right? Unless I can talk with someone who can get up to a higher confidence level. It's like, okay, it's an experiment, so I can't really base my actual hitting the goal off of this one. But if we do hit it, man, that's gonna be amazing. Yeah. And so then you got to make sure you have something else on the other side that's an 80 to 100% confidence level to get most of your goal, if not all of it.
Yep.
And then if that experiment works, like, oh man, this works, let's now keep doing this the next quarter. And so just balance those out and leverage our team and other people to help you do that even more.
Perfect. Thanks.
And Paula, Wendy right here has something to say. She says, it's awesome to see Paula. Admired your hustle for a while. Great to see you. You got admirers. I love
Thanks, Wendy.
I love it.
Keep trying. Keep going.
Well, Paula, before we wrap, what's your biggest goal for the next year, whether it's personal or professional?
Yeah, my biggest goal is to get my broker's license and start to put together the plan of taking over brokerage. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exciting, because as you look at the leverage now, right? You're then building essentially a team to have people go out there and do the work for you, and especially with real estate agents and wholesalers that are individual wholesalers on the investor side. They're the ones that I find get the most burnout because they're just always, especially agents, feel like they have to show on weekends when that's when their clients are.
Yeah. And my passion is really about building teams, especially for my prior life and my consulting. And so that will also help me enjoy what I do, not just selling houses and buying houses and doing those components, but actually building a team that can really make it scream. So
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Paul, I appreciate you coming on here. And guys, if you guys can grab Paula's address as well, I want to get you something in the mail as well, Paula, because you've been a huge champion of Carrot, and you're always showing up. So thank you very much.
Thanks.
Awesome. Well, guys, I'm gonna wrap this. I've got to head to a meeting for me, exciting news that we're going to announce in a couple months, but we're buying a company. And so we're supposed to close on it in a couple days. I'm going to hop over to the meeting to look at any final little things we got to get out of the way. But I want to appreciate you guys big time for showing up today. Okay. Hundreds of you guys and gals showed up today, blocked out schedules. Shoot, we're pushing 3 hours right now. And I want to thank you guys for your commitment to yourselves. I want to thank you guys for your commitment to those around you, because like I said earlier in the call a little bit, I want you guys all to go out and be lighthouses now. Okay. I want you guys to be lighthouses for other people. That right there is why I show up to do this, because I want to impact your life. But I also know that when we do it in the right way and we inspire you in the right way, that you can then go out there and be a lighthouse for other people. And that's where the real impact starts to happen, is it starts to trickle out. And you can look at your own business and do the same thing. You can start to create lighthouses of other people around you, whether it be Paula growing the team around her, whether it be you and your customers, your sellers, your buyers, whatever it is. Go out there, guys, and be the best possible example of you that you can become. Be the person that when you meet the person that you could have become, the person that you are is that person in 50 years, 20 years, 10, 35, whatever ends up being. And make sure that we're really looking at 2022 with the urgency, knowing that nothing's guaranteed. And to create as many magical moments as we possibly can this next year, to make that year 10 years worth of moments, 10 years worth of life this next year, and have your business support you in doing that. So guys, if we can help you on the carrot side, definitely check out our 30-day challenge. If you guys join today as a brand new carrot member through the offer, you'll get the 30-day challenge that starts in January. We're gonna help you kickstart that momentum with our daily 30-day challenge program, with bite-sized pieces of homework. And then you're going to get the one-on-one onboarding call as an advanced marketer member. If you're upgrading to advanced marketer through this offer, then you're going to also unlock the one-on-one onboarding coaching call, the quarterly coaching calls with the coach. You're going to unlock extra features. You're going to unlock our premium website design so you can stand out more, and a whole lot of other things. And you'll also get the 30-day challenge. So guys, grab the offer before midnight on New Year's, and we will help you as much as we possibly can. We're going to commit to you in 2022. As long as you commit right back to us, we're going to commit to you 10 times over. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Live life out loud this next year. Build a business of freedom and impact. We'll talk soon. Have an amazing rest of the year. Thanks, guys.